Yes, people. Another day. Waking up to yet more absolute anarchy at Tottenham Hotspur. The managerial search continues. I've just realised I don't even have my camera on. There you go. How you doing? I hope you are all happy and healthy, doing the things that you love with those that you love doing them with. This is the Spurs Talk Show. We're here live and impromptu at 10:15 to get through what can only be described as another screw up, another disaster. We'll find out what the details are, but Arne Slot apparently has turned down Tottenham Hotspur and is instead signing a new contract with Feyenoord. All the best plans fall apart. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all fine and dandy. Please smash the like on your way in. Let's go. The Spurs Talk Show. It starts right now. Lovely touch from him though. Harry Kane, Lucas Moura, can you do something, please? Last chance, Matt Doherty! Oh, you shite! And there could be from the dead to the don't fuck it up now, Go and win it! Let's go for chance! Stephen Bergwijn! Stephen Bergwijn's through! Win it, Stephen! Come on! Yes! He's won it! He's gonna win it! Oh my God! Oh my God! We did it! Yo, check this out. How you guys doing? How you doing? Don't even know where to begin. You know what? I know where to begin. Let me bring in my man, my mate, to join me as we get through the early stages of this stream. We've got another one coming in 10 minutes to join us, the trifecta. Hope you're all happy, but let's get in a man who I know isn't happy. He's usually happy, but let's find out how happy he is today. And the news that Arne Slot is not. It's not Arne Slot, it's Arne Not. Barry, how you doing?
Arne Not Slot. Not in the slot.
Not Arne.
Not
Mr. Slot.
Mr. Slot, not in the slot. A manager in a farmers league that has used Tottenham Hotspur to increase his salary. Fair play. I'll give him congratulations.
We have been absolutely bent over, haven't we?
Yeah. Again. Just and also look, it's six days until season ticket renewal, closes. So I thought it may have dragged on another week, and we could have had the season ticket closure. We'll do some big furore to try and get everyone to renew, and now we've got the possibility of Brendan Rodgers maybe
we'll talk about that.
Only one left, but look, nothing surprises me. Nothing surprises me anymore. I think maybe we should go down there and put our CVs into Lidley White House and see if we get a
just to turn them down at the last minute. Just to turn them down.
Yeah.
To go, sign you're all right.
Bump a deal and go. Nah, you're all right. Actually,
I only use you to get some more subscribers on my YouTube channel.
Yeah, I was at 5K. Now I'm at 3 million. Cheers, Levy.
Shove it up your ass, you dickhead. Are you okay then, mate? Generally, how you doing in life?
Yeah, well,
winning.
life is better when we're not worrying about what's happening at the football club that we all love.
Yeah.
Well, I say love, maybe it's hate, but there's some sort of relationship that we have with them. But yeah, look, it's just disappointing again. More news coming out. We're getting bantered left, right, and centre. My phone's exploded from all the other fans that I know.
Yep.
Yeah,
Let's
it's not great.
Let me start by welcoming some people in. There's 158 of you already in the chat. It's insane. 5 minutes in at 10:20 on a Thursday. Did none of us have any work to do? Probably not. I hope you are all doing well. Let's get in to say hello to some of these people. Hi, Sean from Dave. Hope you are well. All this reminds me of the Nuno saga. 100% Dave. It does feel that way a little bit. Jason Wells in the house. What's happening, Jace? Different day, same old Levy, mess of the club in 43 years. This is the worst I have experienced as a disillusioned fan. Yeah, 100%. Mark Ivy's in the house. Now we grovel on to the next one. 72 days will make this fiasco seem like a picnic. JH, an utter mess of the club. How big odds are there that this was really about the compensation fee that Tottenham were not willing to pay? Thus, Slot did the only thing he could do to save face. On that note, I do actually have breaking news from Daniel Levy's agent when asked about how much compensation Levy would have to pay.
Wow. And fuck me.
Sorry, that's the wrong one. Here we go.
You chose it.
Bob said he wants 7 million.
Yeah, but I mean, I want an 11-inch penis. It's not going to happen.
Fucked it. I completely fucked it.
You fucked it. You tried to land it, and then it's like telling the joke, and then you land the punchline, and then you're like, oh shit, I've completely cocked it up.
Start again. Yeah, never mind. I'll drop it later on. Hopefully there'll be a few of these people that are currently watching will have left, and a few more people will be in. I'll drop it for the second time and get it right. That was a rehearsal, people. Daniel Borden, we are going to end up with Rodgers. Yeah, a lot of people are thinking that right now. I don't know. We'll talk about that in a minute. We'll talk about who we're going to go for instead. Bernard Bradbury's in the house. What's happening, Bernard or Bernard? Beyonce's free, so they say. Morton Barley, it was all rumor and speculation. We never officially approached the guy, and all he discussed with final was an extension to his existing contract. More media clickbait to follow, no doubt. Yeah, well, we don't really know, do we? We don't know what the situation was. But when every single journalist is saying the same thing, that it's close, it's going to happen, it's either we either believe the journalists or we don't. If the journalists are making it up and they're all just piggybacking off of each other, don't want to miss out on the story, got to be someone who's talking about a story, but it's all nonsense anyway, then this is yet more evidence to never believe a rumor, never believe a single thing that any journalist says, because they all use each other as the two sources that they need to make a story plausible. Or there was truth to it, and Final would have come in and said, how much do you want to stay, etc. And they've done us over. Daniel Borden's in the house. Can't wait for the club telling us he never wanted him anyway. Didn't want you anyway. Yeah. Benny Boy's in the house. Happening, Ben.
Yeah. Didn't know what all the furore was. We didn't want him anyway. Why are you all getting upset again?
Mate, listen, I let the first time you used that word Fiore pass the first time. I was like, it's 10:25 in the morning. It's a ridiculously difficult word to get out. Anyway, any time of the day. But you've used it twice now in 3 minutes. Okay, no more. You can't use that word for any more time. You're on strike two, buddy. Strike two.
Okay.
Richard Troyer, morning, Sava. He's not here, mate. I'm Sean. You always say this in the comments on my videos. I'm not Sava. I'm Sean. Sava will be here in a few minutes, I think. 24 Zeds in the house. It's not looking good, Sean. No, it's not, mate. I hope you're okay. Morning, Saber. Big Mike's in the house. What's happening, guys? Let me skim through some of these so we can get into the story itself. Eddie Ryan, how you doing? Who else haven't I said hello to? Phil P. Woo! What's happening, Phil? Good to see you, mate. The number of days since Spurs last shit show.
There's a super chat as well from Moondog.
0. Yeah, big up Moondog. Where are you? There you are, mate. Thank you so much. Nice to see you, mate. He did say yesterday he's not here yet. He's not here yet. Doesn't look like he will be either. Thank you very much for the super chat, my mate. Perch is here as well. What's happening, Perchometer? Big up, Sean. Big up, mates. Big up. Custy's in the house. Sol Campbell incoming. Could you imagine? Can you imagine? Cut down the intro. It's 2 minutes. Most people have got 5, 6, 7 minute intros. And at least mine's got something to watch. Most people just have a clock or something. Come on. That's unreasonable. And I don't stream very often, so it's not even often that you have to see it. And to be honest, I like seeing it because it reminds me of days when I was skinnier than I am currently. Pierre Sterngard is in the house. Slot was never really on. Levy will play games and give us Brian Mason. I can't even. What's happening? Marky's here. Who else we got? Who else we got? Paul Beatty's now. What's happening, Paul? From Australia. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Good to see you. Min She's in the house. Don't know what that means. I think that's
Body blue raised arms. Body blue raised arms.
I think that's
Is
like.
it not like the? Is it not like the?
Yeah.
No. It's that one, isn't it? It's that one. It's that one. That emoji with the arms like that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Down with the kids.
Neil Hartley. No water this morning. No, Bugsy's been a naughty girl. She's on the naughty step, mate. So I'm doing this instead. I will take her out this afternoon and see if she's back. She's back in the game. Who else we got? Stu Chew's in the house. We got Stuart Austin's in the house. What's happening? Tottenham LSG's in the house. Season tickets, exactly. I wonder, like, let me ask you this, Nick. Do you think that the season ticket, like, they've just lost out on, several hundred, if not thousands of people that would have renewed had Arne Slot been appointed this week, and now they go,
I don't think they would have necessarily, they would have missed out on people renewing, but I don't think they're going to miss out on people buying them. Because there's however many hundreds of that. I mean, Sean, you're what on the list? I'm sure you'll probably get offered one this season.
I was offered one last season, but the one that they offered me the one that was in like the South Upper, but it's like some part of some 1882 club or something, and it's like you get a free beer. You end up paying like 2,800 quid, which basically makes the average price of the ticket more than the price of a ticket if you buy them on the exchange.
Yeah. So basically, you get a beer, you get 2 beers, a program, and something to eat, I think, and then that means that your ticket doubles in price.
Yeah, madness, absolute madness. A lot of people were buying them though. I know people that bought them because they wanted a season ticket.
Yeah. So I think it is. There's still some people on the fence. There's still some people obviously waiting for the deadline, but I'm sure that there's going to be plenty that will be. Let's just say the fans that like to go for a day out and a social, then they will be purchasing the tickets. So,
yeah. Well, look, I'd imagine. Yeah, I think you're right, actually, mate. I think a lot of people that were going to renew probably maybe now won't, but there'll always be someone else willing to step up. So it's it's the beautiful thing about being an owner of Tottenham Hotspur is that you have a ridiculously loyal fan base who have been waiting a long time to get on the season ticket schedule, and maybe they'll take advantage of it. But I don't know. Listen, if they offered me a season ticket right now, well, they offered me one last year. I didn't take it. That was because of the price, but I wouldn't take it right now either because I don't want to watch the football that's been offered. And until I know what the manager is, or who the manager is, then I wouldn't commit to more than individual games. Saba's in the house. Bring him in. What's happening, Saba?
Oh, Saba, the man who said he'd call me back 2 days ago. He's starting to turn into Danny Kiriakou.
Oh, mate, sorry. Listen, my phone's been going mental the last couple of days. You know why? So, I'll come back to you. It's been a long couple of days. Good morning, gents. How are we?
Morning.
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. Yeah, well, woke up to. I listened on this one. I was so excited. I really was. I was like, this is going to be one that we can get behind. I was positive about this, and thinking that we're going to watch good football. It might not be successful football, but at least we're going to get back to seeing some good stuff. So pretty upset, if I'm honest. How do you feel?
I mean, look, it was. Look, I had that 1 ounce of belief left in this football club to actually go and do the right thing and learn from mistakes. And now Sky Sports have literally just this second broken the news that Slot's down at Feyenoord. Spurs did not progress interest over the release clause. At the same time, now that Ange Postecoglou has jumped into second favourite to take the job, I'm really disappointed, lads. I genuinely, you know my position, guys. I don't want a Conte. I don't want a Jose. I don't want a Pep or a Klopp. I want a young manager that can build from the ground up. And this guy looked like he had the personality, the experience. Didn't want £70 million signings. Look great, and just as we're about to, it looks like we're all about to do it. And hey, he's going to be through the door, and then he's announced that he's staying on, and I don't know where we go from here, guys. It's an absolute shower of shite, isn't it?
Yeah, massively. Well, let's pivot. Let's start that conversation, right? So obviously everybody was starting to plan out who the outgoings are going to be, what we need for a new system. Players like Harry Maguire that are being, talked about leaving the club. We spoke about this yesterday, Saba, on Henry's stream. Like, he would never fit an Arne Slot system. Suddenly, all of the players we've spoken about that we need that maybe could go, maybe that we don't need so much because they're not going to fit a high press, high line system where pace is the predominant factor we need. All of that's out the window again, isn't it? Like, we don't know. Like, we absolutely have no idea now what the next manager will be, what sort of formation he's going to play, and therefore, all of the players that we thought may or may not fit that system, we now don't have any real reason to kind of continue thinking that they are or are not relevant. Like Brian Hill, I was thinking, he'll be massively involved in an Arne Slot system because he's bags of energy, runs all day, does the press, goes after it, creative and stuff. No longer think he might now not necessarily be a part of Tottenham's next season's plans. What are your thoughts?
How does the club? I mean, look. I love, especially from a YouTube point of view. Let's be really, really honest. It's great when there's loads of content about, hey, this manager's coming and this player's going and we're signing this person. At the moment, how are we going to be linked to anyone? How can we possibly link a single player, manager, when we don't know who the manager's going to be, who the director of football is, what the formation's going to be? I just don't know how we can possibly look at those situations. So I don't pay too much interest to players in and out at the moment, if I'm really, really honest. For me, it had to start with a director of football. I think I've been really vocal about that, Sean, in our WhatsApp group. Yeah. It's got to start with director of football. And look, let me try and give some green shoots, right? And again, this is purely in the delusional part of the back of my mind that says, Sava, you're being an absolute numpty, right? The delusional part of me is there some part that we go and hijack Poch? Is there some part that we do go back to Nagelsmann and go, right, we'll give you whatever you want because we're an absolute mess? But if I bring myself to this side of my brain...
That is the glass half full approach. Like, that glass is chock-a-block.
Right. So now let me go to the, come on, Savvy, this is happening side of my brain. Everything about this looks like Brendan Rodgers, Graham Potter, Ryan Mason, Ange Postecoglou. Do you know what? Everything looks like it's going to be that ilk. And the only one of them, I don't know how you boys feel, the only one of them I would be remotely... I don't think the word's happy, but comfortable with would be Graham Potter, because I think had he not had the 6 months at Chelsea, which is a poison chalice, I think many fans this time last year would have been going,
would have wanted him. Yeah.
Potter's done a good job. But hey, before everyone comes at me, I know what people are like. You guys know, I wanted the likes of Nagelsmann, the likes of Slot, the likes of Enrique. Poch was on my list before that, but hey, this is Tottenham. So look, do you know what? I feel like I'll finish ranting in a second. I'm just so peed off. Look, I don't even want Poch back. I don't. But now I'm looking at Poch compared to the rest of those managers and going, Jesus, go and hijack. Go and hijack Poch. I don't care what we've got to do. I don't care if Levy needs to get down on his hands and knees. This is going to be clean. Get down on his hands and knees and beg that man to come back. I'm so disillusioned more than I normally am as to what is happening at this football club.
I think, Sarah, you're right. I think it's like the only way that I can explain this at the moment is you it's like being a kid at Christmas, right? You've written the list of everything that you want and you get none of it. That is what Tottenham Hotspur is. You get to You open those presents.
It's worse than that. It's worse than that. Your parents tell you, they give you all the indications you'll get in the PS5. They even go so far as to give you a box that looks like a PS5, and then when you open it up, there's like a Sega Saturn in there or something.
Sega Saturn. That's not one for the youngers, is it?
Yeah, 100%. Sorry, Nick. Sorry to cut you off, mate. Just before I go any further, I did want to welcome in Mia. How you doing, Mia? You okay?
Yeah, not too bad. Been to the gym, so yeah.
Nice. Let's get a healthy start to the day. Punch out the frustration.
Spurs are signing Mia for next season. She's getting fit for the season.
Don't get an injury.
Yeah, man, I think I could do a better job.
Are you a centre?
You know what? I'll probably be more of a winger, a quick little winger, I reckon. I'm just really disillusioned, to be honest, Sean, with what had happened, because all the signs were that he was close, and then it's sort of like he flipped it on its head. Like it's just, and what he's come out and said as well is a bit kind of like fobbing off that he even spoke to us. So it's a bit like he didn't even speak to us when we know that's not actually true. So it's all just a bit confusing, and it looks like a bit of a ploy for him to get more money, really, and that's obviously not good.
Yeah. I want to talk about in just a moment. I've got a couple of super chats I want to get to. Before I do, 365 of you in the house. It's amazing at this time of the morning. Really appreciate it. If you could smash the like button for me, that would be very much appreciated. Also, if you haven't already hit the subscribe, we're on the march to 8K. Couple of super chats, and then I want to talk about the contract stuff, right? If it's true that Tottenham, if what Sky Sports and what Sav is saying is true, that Daniel Levy balked at the idea of paying 7 million or whatever it was in compensation, then I guess we can chalk off a couple of the other managers that we've been linked with, like Nagelsmann, that is still technically under contract and on gardening leave at Bayern Munich, and also Ruben Amorim, who has, I think, it was a 33 million euro compensation clause, and then I think during the summer it drops to like 24 million or something. So unless Levy thinks that Amorim is 4 times the manager Arne Slot is, then there's no chance that either of those two are coming in. So we'll talk about that in a second. But before I do, Jory, thank you so much for the super chat, my man. He says, big up, Sean. Good to see you streaming. Yeah, I'm going to try and get back to it, mate. I'm putting my health stuff. Like, I can't piss around waiting for news anymore. I'm itchy feet to talk about Tottenham. So I'm starting to get all the stuff out of the way. I appreciate everyone's support, by the way, who's watching this, who's reached out to me. It meant the world. I did say so on the last video I did. It's the support from the community has been sensational. So thank you to everybody. And then Jory again is coming in with a nice one, mate. Thank you very much. He says, the amount of good personnel on and off the field that we have missed out on due to Levy's haggling is insane. Surely the very first order of business needs to be Levy stepping down as chairman. Big up, Jory. Nick, I'll let you rant on that one, mate. Do you agree? Do you agree that Levy needs to step down? And if so, do you even think it's plausible?
No, I think there's got to be a point, right? There's a point with everything that you say. Thank you, but enough's enough, right? And I think it's, I think obviously we saw in that last game of the season when obviously Levy's wife heard the chants and heard everything and all everything against him and did the old hand on the knee. Don't worry, darling, everything will be fine. It's not fine.
Cringe.
And I think people look. I know some people will want, do want change. Whether that's he changes, I don't think personally he will. Whether that's we hit the magic number and we get it, or whether or not there's some agreement. But if this is a business or Joe Lewis and everything else around it, you'd be looking in at it and going, this is an utter, it's not even a circus anymore, right? It was a circus and now it's an utter shit show. I just don't know where we go. I think, look, he needs to step down, step aside, go on holiday, go on gardening leave. We just we've got no direction. We've got no plans. We're just in a complete mess. there's no point getting angry about it anymore. I mean, I think even the man below is probably the most angriest, the angriest of angriest people, Mr. Danny Kiriakou. But I think nothing surprises him anymore, right? So getting angry about it's not actually going to change.
He hated Spurs so much he moved countries.
Yeah, exactly. But then still came back. Watched the Brentford game,
yeah. How are you, Danny? You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. How's everyone? Nice to see you. It's good to see you streaming, Sean. It's good, man. And good to see everyone. I haven't seen Sava for a while on here. So nice to see you, Sav. Nice to see you, me as well.
And you, bro?
Yeah, so it's just another day in paradise, isn't it, really? There's not really much more you can say. I mean, like Nick was saying that I'm an angry person. When it comes to Tottenham, I'd say I can be quite angry because obviously they frustrate you. But if I'm honest, I haven't been angry with Tottenham for a long time. Like, I think since Conte,
you've gone past the point of anger. Now you're into the part of like finding humour in it all.
Yeah, I mean, I think since, for me, the season ended obviously when Bentancur got injured. As soon as he got injured, I knew the season was done. And then as soon as Conte left, I know obviously there's a lot of reasons why he needed to go. We needed to obviously get a plan in and stuff like that. And we knew that everyone's being honest with himself, we knew that he was never going to work out at Spurs even before he signed, right? But yeah, it's just at the moment, like my care for it, it's not there anymore, and it's sad really because it's not just me; it's doing this to a lot of fans, and yeah, it's like you see this kind of news today. I expected this because I've been speaking to people over here. And they were like, there's no way he's leaving. There's no way he's leaving and stuff. I've been speaking to a few Feyenoord fans over here. And they're like, he ain't going to leave. And I said, well, why do you think that? It's a club like Tottenham. He goes, he's just got the champions. He just got them into the Champions League, right? He's built a really young team. They're playing really exciting football. And they're just build on what they'll have for next season. And after seeing the kind of the comment from him as well, saying that he wants to stay, it kind of solidified my opinion that there was no way he was going to leave. And this is the thing. Over the last couple of days, I've been speaking to people, and I was like, "Oh, we're going to get Arne Slot." I got one of my friends is a Feyenoord fan, and I was like, I was taking the piss, saying, "Yeah, we're going to get him." He was like, "It ain't going to happen." And this is the thing. It's just, I just see this as what Sava said earlier, and I said this before. It's just gearing up for a Rodgers, isn't it? Or gearing up for like a Mason to come in. You know, they're going to go through the Postecoglou kind of rumors. Oh, and there's already things coming out right now saying that he's too old to manage us. He's like 57. I mean, is that the class as too old now in the football management world? I don't know, but yeah, it's just shambolic, really. We've got the season ticket renewal coming up in 6 days' time. To surprise me, this has come out. I wonder what's the next bit of news we're going to see in the next few days, because
I reckon Nagelsmann. Danny, I reckon the Nagelsmann rumors are going to revive. And
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Daniel Levy is definitely panicking. Sorry,
should we just get Harry Redknapp in and just be done with it? Let him and Hoddle do it until they die.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean?
Let's just do it.
Speaking of which, got a super chat here from Jason Green, who says exactly the same thing. Big up, Jason, mate. Really appreciate your support. I would love to see Harry Redknapp return to Spurs and bring back some of the stylish attacking play that Spurs has been missing for quite some time. Sav, seeing as you brought it up as well, mate, I'll let you run with it. I don't know how old Harry Redknapp is, but
no, listen,
to Danny's point, like Danny says that there's an age limit on the bottom side, but Roy Hodgson, what is he, 77 or something, 76? Like, I think Harry Redknapp's younger than him. So
Look, for me, I was all for bringing in Redknapp. For me, should have come in the moment Conte went. Redknapp should have been that interim, steady the ship to the end of the season. In terms of building long term, I feel that, I go on record and say I preferred Redknapp to Poch. That gets me a lot of stick, right? I loved Redknapp. I loved his football. I think he's I think he's a proper football man, right? I don't think he's one that overcomplicates. He's a slap your ass as you're going on the pitch. Go on, son. You go and do what you need to do on the right wing.
He's simple man management, isn't it? He just puts your arm around you like a mate.
Yeah. And I think that's great. At his age now, I think that's brilliant for an interim job. I definitely think there's if you're getting in a younger manager, why not have someone like Harry Redknapp in the background as I don't know about a director of football, but as some sort of I don't know, I can't think of the word I'm looking for. Some sort of advisor, an advisory capacity.
Ambassador, consultant, something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Look, when you look at it in a moment, who is out there? Enrique still hasn't got a job, right? You've got Mason who wants it. You've got
Ancelotti. Ancelotti's going to be out soon, probably. Right? He might be.
No, well, Ancelotti's just said that he's staying, isn't he? Didn't he say last week that the board has said he's staying for 1 more year?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But again, you wouldn't want Ancelotti, would you? Because it would be exactly the same as Jose and Conte. It's bringing in a win now manager when we need to build. Look,
shit! Sorry, Ben's in the background.
I don't know.
Sorry,
I'll be really, really honest with you. I don't know. Ruud van Nistelrooy's just left his job.
He has,
I think we're at the stage now where I don't know. Listen, all I know is this: fans for the next 3-4 years, please stop talking about trophies. Please stop talking about Champions League football, and buckle yourself in for what is going to be a very, very bumpy. If we think this has been bumpy, if we think going from 4th to 8th is bumpy, right? Yeah. Strap yourselves in for the next few years because it's going to get a lot worse before it gets a lot better. Unless they've got a master plan that some of us don't know. And I think we all doubt that very much.
There's no master plan, is there?
No, there isn't. And I haven't been on streams for a while, but I've been listening to a lot of them. I listened to you guys again yesterday, Sean and Sava, and on Henry on the stream yesterday. And you made some good points, and I like what you said yesterday about, and you're kind of repeating it now, how we shouldn't even think about trophies because let's be honest. I mean, first of all, the club is nowhere near a place to try and achieve trophies. Second of all, the club, it's very debatable that's really their true intentions to win trophies because we've been in situations where we could have won, and I'm not saying it's all the owner's fault, but partly it is the owner's fault why we haven't achieved what we could have achieved in the last sort of 7-8 years. And if you look at it now, like you said, I think you mentioned it yesterday, Sav, people talking about, we've got to get these players out, we've got to get this player, we've got to get so many players out. And Sean, you mentioned that it's going to cost a lot of money if we're going to rip up contracts. And you're right, it's going to cost a lot of money if we are going to sit there and give players away for nothing or just completely just end their contracts, right? People think that's going to be cheap. That's not going to be cheap. That is a whole transfer budget just doing that alone. So for people to expect us to even try and achieve trophies.
Sorry, but just on that, it depends on the negotiations, right? So generally speaking, if a player wants to get, with Matt Doherty, the rumors are that we paid his contract out in full, right? So he only had whatever it was, a year left or 6 months left on his contract, or no, a year left, I think it was, or 18 months, whatever. We paid that out in full because we needed to make space in the squad. With regards, someone like Tanguy and Ndombele, he's got 2 years left, 10 million quid a year. If he says, nah, screw you, and Sanchez might do the same, screw you, if you want me gone, you're going to pay my entire contract, and you've got to pay it out in full. However, you could negotiate and say, look, the second that your contract's torn up, you can go and sign with anybody. And then they're going to pay you, obviously, maybe 30, 20% of what you're getting at Tottenham, but that's going to make up the difference. So what they might say to Ndombele is, we can free you from sitting on the bench or sitting in the youth team for the next 2 years. But we'll pay you 10 million quid. We'll pay you half your contract. And you'll make up the difference by going and signing for someone else immediately and getting paid there anyway. So I don't want everyone to think that it's a fait accompli that you have to pay out the contract in full.
Of course,
you only have to do that if you're determined to get the player out and he doesn't want to go. But
of course,
you could threaten them with sitting on the bench.
You could do, but someone like Ndombele, honestly, the way I've seen the way he is, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes, no, I don't care. I'm going to sit here 2 years, earn my 200 grand a week if he wants to, because he ain't going to get that. He just seems like he's all about the money. He doesn't seem like he's in it for 100%. The football, in my opinion.
100%. He doesn't care.
And that's where a big problem lies with someone like Ndombele, for example. There's just so many players. There's so many players that we need to obviously get out of this club. We all know who they are, and to refresh. And it's just like the news today kind of just feels like, oh, here we go again. It's like it's gonna be another 6 or 8 months of a manager we're gonna get in. It's probably going to be a Rodgers or a Mason or someone like that. And then and then we're going to end up sacking him because it hasn't worked out. So we're not really going to fully back that manager really, or give him some young, innovative players to kind of try and implement the philosophy when really the club don't actually feel that they trust that person. And that's where the biggest problem is, because if the club are going down to their, like, I don't know, 7th choice manager, it's just going to be like a whole Nuno saga all over again. I'm not saying Nuno saga in terms of the quality of manager. I'm talking about that you've gone to your 7th choice or something like that. You've gone Company, okay, gone. De Zerbi, okay, no, next. You've gone Postecoglou, next. You've gone Arne Slot, next. And it's Arne Slot, by the way, is the way you pronounce it. And
that's the least of our problems, Danny, at the moment. Isn't it? Names.
We don't need to pronounce his name, Danny. He's not the fucking manager.
I know, but I'm just saying.
Shut up, Danny. No one asked for how you pronounce people's names.
Oh, I know grammar and pronunciation. Oh.
No one likes a brown nose, Danny. Come on, man.
Danny.
And you had rap
Up friends.
I do.
Let me just welcome Ben into the stream quickly. How you doing, Ben? You okay, mate?
Yeah, I've got the right confectionery to sum up Tottenham Hotspur.
Random.
And of course, there are going to be more cups at the coffee company than there are at Tottenham in the next 2 years. But yeah, it's another day where Tottenham Hotspur Football Club have ruined another day. Another day ruined by Tottenham Hotspur. It's the Tottenham on tour, apparently, takeover of the Spurs Talk Show with a bit of shelf-side Spurs. This is a disaster. There is only one choice, and that is purple and gold. Get your scarves out. This will continue. It's another year where we get our 8th choice manager. We can't even get the 2nd choice. It's an 8th choice again. So David Pleating.
Ben, just quickly, sorry, because I need to jump in a minute. But isn't it more worrying for everyone? Forget the manager right now. Isn't it more worrying that the actual guy that's the most important at any football club is the director of football? And before we worry about which manager we've got him, look, let me caveat what I'm going to say. I've always said the only way I will forgive them for not having a director of football in by now is if that director of football is in a job and wants to see out the end of the season, which is Sunday. So if Monday we do not announce a director of football, then you completely know that there's absolutely no plan going on behind the scene in any way, shape or form. If they announce a director of football Monday that has been with a club, then I'll say, fair enough. I get it. You wanted to wait till the last game of the season. But look, guys, I do need to go. I love you all. Our love is bonded by...
Hashtag Savas fault.
I know. Do you know what? I don't know why that's circulating, man. Like somebody just...
Savas fault.
Somebody just put in the chat, right, and said, Sava's in the mud. I mean, the mud, it's what makes the skin glow, right? Sava's in the mud. Now you'll understand the Levy pain. And I'm like, dude, I've been Levy out since 2007. Like, as though, like, I've only just woken up to how bad Daniel Levy is.
If anyone here is like, should be considered in the mud, it's probably Mia and probably myself for having a little bit more patience and tolerance with Daniel Levy than the rest. But Stab, mate, best of luck, buddy, with what's going on. I'll see you soon, mate. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, good luck, Danny Kiriakou as well. I'll speak to you later. Cheers, guys.
Good luck.
Bye.
Before I continue and welcome in Brian as well, I've got a couple of super chats, but also, guys, there's been nearly 500 of you in here. There's 450 at the moment. I think there's only about 150 likes. Can we get up to 200 likes? Should be an easy target. If everyone that hasn't hit the like, just smash the like button for me. It's free to do.
If we get to 400 likes, Sean's going to say Levy out.
Okay.
There's the challenge, people.
Fair enough. Fucking hell.
Put him in the mud. Put him in the mud on his own channel.
Put him right in the mud. Yeah, fair enough. And I've got a couple of super chats. Again, thanks everyone for the support for the show. Moondog's back again with another one saying, bring back Aussie. That was attacking football. That's what a lot of people were expecting with a little bit with Arne Slot. You know, he's got the propensity to, when he's chasing a game, go to like a 2-1-7 system. And like, I was all for it. You know, see what happens. Throw the
honestly, Sean, fans would. It was the only manager other than De Zerbi that really got me excited about maybe there's some sort of plan going on at Spurs, because I watched the Eredivisie, and when I've watched finals this season, they look like such a good team. Like, they play one-touch football. The way they play is one-touch football, and I would have loved to have seen. I know obviously we can't do it with a lot of our players right now, but it got me excited of thinking we could actually become a team like that, and then when we get the rug pulled out underneath us again, once again.
Terrible stuff. But sorry, Brian, almost there, mate. And then we got one from Wolvesy. What's happening, Wolvesy, mate? More ex-Wolves, Lopetegui, I think you say his name. Could be free soon. Yeah, he looks like he's going to leave. Lopetegui, is it? Yeah, there you go. Bad times at Wolves, mate, as well. It looks like he's been let down by the financial systems and the difficulties of being a mid-sized club in the Premier League. But I hope you're well, mate. Thank you so much for the super chat. It means the world to have your support as well, buddy. Brian, welcome, mate.
Yep.
Been a while. How you doing?
How am I doing? It's happened again. It's happened again. Levy's fucked up another manager search. It's happened again. Listen, I mean, I've got to 11:30 till I go on a meeting. I'm going to try and keep my answers concise and to the point because, like I said, I've only got. We all knew, people like Danny and myself, when this happened with Conte a couple of years ago, it's season ticket deadline time. Listen to the managers. They're all coming in. Look at this. We're going to do it. I want to thank Arne Slot for killing this dead rather than dragging it out till June the 1st when we hear the news.
That's a good take, actually. I like that. Yeah.
This is the way I look at it. Arne Slot, whether it's coming out with Sky now that apparently it was based not on the fact that he wanted to stay at Feyenoord. Apparently, we wouldn't agree the buyout clause. Take of it what you will. Both of them are probably true. But this is what happens. Rather than these managers now dragging this out, you've got to look at this, people. Whether you are Levy in, Levy out, or Levy on the, I don't want to say even Levy in because that's you Levy out or you.
No one's Levy in, mate.
There's no one.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. You Levy out,
you're
or
not sure.
you're just not sure, or where we are. I think we're 12 days away from eclipsing or meeting the record of 72 days without a manager. We're here again, but now we are getting turned down by these managers. Normally at a football club, if a job comes up, you're like, "Oh, pick me! I'm going to show you what I can do." We are having to hustle our way round and trying to sell ourselves. That's what we're doing. We're trying to sell ourselves, and it's just one more embarrassing thing after another embarrassing thing And we were saying yesterday when this came up. It got to the point where we've been on this parade before. I've been on this carousel. I've seen how it goes. I've seen what happens. I say it. And we just, what more? I mean, you look at it. I put a tweet out. If you look at the current state of Spurs right now, chairman that no one wants to deal with, director of footballs that aren't listened to or given the marching orders, managers aren't back when they are here and turned down when we try to approach them. The contracts with players. I mean, people are thinking Harry Kane is staying. And I've been saying that I think he's going to go this season. The whole Nagelsmann thing, that really shows him ambition. And now this, how many more? This club is broken. It's broken.
I thought Harry Kane was going to stay. If Arne Slot comes in, my logic behind it is that Daniel Levy will not sell him to Manchester United. I don't believe that he would go abroad and sacrifice his. Even though Henry and Saba yesterday disagreed with me, and so did everyone in the comments, I don't believe that Harry Kane would sacrifice his Premier League record to go over to Real Madrid yet. Maybe he'd go there once he's got the record, but that's 2 seasons away at least.
Can I ask you a question on that? And you're probably the best person and fairest person to answer this, and I mean this. So if you look at it with Harry Kane right now, yeah? When it comes to selling him, whether it be Manchester United, abroad, whatever, is it more important for Daniel Levy to keep him and let him go on a free, even though he promised after Judas that will never happen again and let him go on a free? Or does he think, right, this guy could go on a free, now I have to cash in? So it's either...
Yeah.
It sounds very...
Well, it depends on the money, mate. It depends on the money, bro.
If the money comes in, if the number he comes in comes, let's just say it's 80 million. It's probably a little bit high, but I'm just saying 80 million. If 80
Yeah.
million comes in, does Daniel Levy say, no, do you know what? We're going to let him go on a free and I've broken a promise? Or does he go, nope, there's the number, bang, bye?
Well, I think there's a lot to it, right? It depends on who's providing the number. Like, I think that first of all, the number's important. I think that I'm not entirely sure anymore. I used to think until about 2 weeks ago when I read somewhere that it's different. I thought that the new Champions League system, where there's an extra 4 teams, and then the Premier League essentially gets, depending on who qualifies fifth, but with the coefficient rules, I thought that let's say Tottenham finish fifth next season, that they qualify for the Champions League. But I read somewhere that doesn't start until the season after. So I don't know. But even in a world where it's fourth or fifth that gets
are you sure,
Champions
Sean?
League,
I thought it doesn't start this season. It's like if you qualify for fifth this season, the coming season, then the
you go into
season
next
after that.
okay,
yeah,
that's
correct.
Okay,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
Spot on. Okay,
it's 2024-2025 season, I think is.
It starts, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so fifth place will get 70 million quid. Right, so or 60 million quid. That's essentially if you get into the group stages and you qualify out of it and you make it to the last 16, then you are going to get about 60-70 million quid in revenue. So the number, if Harry Kane's value to Tottenham is the difference between finishing in Daniel Levy's mind between finishing fifth and finishing sixth or below, then any bid that's below 60-70 million quid isn't worth it. You might as well run the contract down because the difference you'll find back in the Champions League anyway. If it's above 80 million quid, then it's a difficult situation. And it comes down to whether Daniel Levy wants to sell him to a rival or whether he says, okay, I'll let you go for 80 million quid, but only overseas. And then it comes down to whether Harry Kane would rather go overseas and win a Champions League, but in so doing sacrifice his Premier League goal scoring record. And I don't think he'll do that. I think that the Premier League record is so close that he would rather stay in the Premier League. And if Daniel Levy says, you're not going to United, you won't go to Arsenal or Chelsea, then he might end up staying at Tottenham anyway under duress, because if Tottenham turn down United, they'll be forced to go and buy another striker this summer. And then next summer, when he can go for free, none of the big clubs where you're kind of guaranteed to win a trophy will need him. The only club that might still want him would be Newcastle, but I don't think Newcastle has a guarantee of getting a trophy anyway. So to me, I feel like that I thought that Harry Kane would end up staying kind of by default, signing another contract by default. But now that Arne Slot's fallen apart, don't know anymore.
Do you know what, Sean? I've been like with Harry Kane's situation. I still think personally that he's not going to leave this season because I just don't think anyone's going to pay the money that Daniel Levy wants. The stuff that I heard back in like 5 months ago, that they were saying that no matter that he's more valuable to Tottenham for another season and letting him go on a free than to sell him right now. As much as we would probably need the money to rebuild the team, right? I still think that the club, look, Harry Kane knows, unfortunately, it's not in his hands right this minute. It's just not, because unless that number comes that the club want, or they feel that, you've got to remember, it's not what the market value is for Harry Kane, right? Because we all know what the market value is on a player with 1 year left on his contract. It's what his value to Tottenham. And to Tottenham, he's going to be a lot more than what the current market value is for a player who's 30 years old, England captain, and club record scorer, right? So for me, I just see it as that unless a club like Man United or a club like Chelsea, whoever it is, pays over the odds or over the market value for him, which is, I believe is over £100 million, right? Then he's not going to leave. And I think Harry Kane knows that it doesn't really matter to him anymore, because he could literally just do one more season at Tottenham and then he can go to any club he wants. And I think with that freedom, I think he knows that he could choose to stay in London if he wanted to stay in London. I don't think he'll ever go abroad, because I think he wants that Premier League record. He's so close to it now. I don't think he's going to leave England. So, but I do think that there'll probably be less opportunity for him in London, because I only think the only club I think, from what I know, that he would go to, not that he would want to, is Chelsea. But I do feel that there'll be more opportunities for other clubs, because you never know. Newcastle could be in the title race next season, and then he might think, do you know what? I could actually go there. I could actually go to get paid stupid money and try and win a Premier League with them.
Maybe
they've got the right plan, the right vision.
It's too early with Newcastle, mate. It's like with Newcastle United. Like, there's a lot of teams that have been flashing the pans, and they've got to go through their own transition. They milked the teat for all it's worth out of people like Dan Burn, Fabian Schär, Yeah, Longstaff. Yeah.
In a hypothetical situation, right? Just say if Newcastle push on again next season, right, and they get close to challenging for the title, then someone like Kane might look at it and think, well, they've got that close. Maybe if I go there, they might get that little bit closer.
If they do
but
it,
I'm not,
if they kick on this season, then maybe there's
this is what I mean.
But to leave Tottenham and go to Newcastle right now,
no. He wouldn't do it now. No, I'm talking about summer 2024, like because I don't think he is going to leave this season. I think it will be next summer, and I think then it's a matter of. I think for him, when he does leave, it will be who's positioned best that will give him the opportunity and positioned best to try and win a trophy. And then I think he'll take that step because I think that he knows, I think after the Mourinho and Conte debacle, I think he knows that there's no way there's going to win trophies at this club.
Yeah, fair enough. Paul, I'm going to bring you in just a second, my man, to get your take on it. Before I do, I've got a couple of super chats, and I want to get Mia's take on a couple of these because she hasn't spoken for a while. And Mia, that is the consequences of having your camera off. Not that I'm asking you to bring it on, but that is the consequences.
I've just been to the gym, man. I look like a right mess. Come on.
I always look like a right mess, man.
It's all good. Adrian Chia, big up my man. He's saying fans better learn how to pronounce Brendan Rodgers. I'm just gonna thank you so much. I'm gonna come back to that in 2 seconds. And the other one is from Jory as well. Big up Jozza. Does the panel see any path to success with Levy in place as chairman? All stars in the house. Big up all. Thank you so much, Jory. Mia, I'm gonna ask you this one first, and I'm gonna then come to Paul for the one about Brendan Rodgers. But I know where he wants to go with his personal choice. We'll hear that in a second. But Mia, you're someone that is, I guess, similar to me. You've been more on the sympathetic side with regards Daniel Levy of late. Jory obviously is very, very much on the Levy out side of the spectrum. Do you see any path to success with Levy still in place as chairman, Mia?
No, and the way I put it is that I'm not sympathetic. I think I'm just fair when it comes to some aspects of Levy. Don't get it wrong. Like, I do think that we need to have something changed for us to go anywhere. And I do think that is to have not Enoch and Levy, because I do think that Joe Lewis is part of the part of the issue as well. Not if we didn't have Daniel Levy, I think that things might not be, they might be slightly better, but I don't think it would improve massively, because I do think Joe Lewis is a massive issue as well. So I wouldn't say we could get but we've been close, and some of those issues that where we've been that close to getting it just like a kick of a penalty away from it, but I just don't think, I think we're so far away from that now. I feel like that we've gone the complete opposite end of that now. So no, I don't think we can.
Fair enough. I tend to agree. I've been Levy Cell for a long time. Like, I separate the past, the present, and the future. Like, I share everybody's concerns about the present. I think the future looks incredibly bleak. Where I just disagree with a lot of people in the community is how they reflect on the past, especially the first 15 years of Levy's tenure. I think were far better than is represented by some. But that notwithstanding, the past is the past. We're in the present and the future, and I think that Daniel Levy is screwing up to of a frequency that you can't excuse and you can't defend. So yeah, I think that it's time to go. And we'll talk about maybe whether or not the Qatari failed bid for Manchester United could open the door for a cheeky twist in the Tottenham story later this summer. Before we get onto that, Paul, first and foremost, mate, welcome to the show. How are you? And start off with the Brendan Rodgers one, but then obviously take it where you want. I know who you want, but let everyone know who you want as the manager, and tell us why.
Well, first off, I'd like to, despite rumours, I'd like to confirm that I've had no contact with Tottenham Hotspur at all. I'm quite happy. I'm going to stay cleaning toilets at the mighty Woolloomooloo Wombats FC for another year. They've thrown in some free bog roll, so just put that to bed. Brendan Rodgers, no. Look, I've said this from day one, and I still maintain it. And I know I understand people's doubts or reservations about it, but I have been following the guy for several years, and it's Ange Postecoglou. I think he would be perfect for Spurs. He's won everywhere. He's had success everywhere against the odds, and so I think Arne Slot would have been a good appointment. But personally, I'm kind of quite happy that he's not, because that means that Ange is still in with a shout, and I think he'd be a much better manager.
Do you really think so?
Absolutely, no doubt about it. No
There's
doubt
only one
about
man for the job, though, Paul, and it's
Sorry?
Christian Gross. Bring in Christian Gross. Get the travel card out. CFL needs a bit of money. Bring out the travel cards. We need those. The Oyster card has decimated the day travel card community, and it's time to bring it back. Christian Gross.
Yeah.
Paul,
You know
can I ask
what I
you a
need
question?
to add? Sorry, Danny, let me just say one thing,
Oh.
because I'm going to be going very shortly. What you need to remember as well is this week alone, we heard that Daniel Levy wants to move to this data-driven kind of scouting, and this is the new way we're going. So fair play. It's going to take a few years to get this in order. So he's saying this is the route we're going down, and we're going to get a director of football and Scott Munn, whose idea it is to make the footballing decisions, but we're going to hire someone based on the way he wants to run the club. So that's fine. That's fine. It will take time. At the moment, yesterday I was hearing as well that apparently now there will be no director of football. It will just be a manager.
What?
And now the
Where are you hearing
manager,
that?
yeah. I won't say it here, but I'll say it. I'll speak to you afterwards, Sean.
Oh, you got a source?
There is. I wouldn't say a source. Just say
Ketchup.
Ketchup, or is it Heinz tomato sauce?
So and yesterday when we were I was on a Twitter space yesterday, and literally we had a guy from Holland that was not a journalist or anything, but a Dutch supporter, and Danny, you know him, Nimesh. He was in, so he came in and said yesterday that apparently this is done already. Like before they broke yesterday, he said the reason being was apparently there was a meeting, and Slot wanted assurances that the club couldn't give 100%. Yup, we'll do all that for you. And then what the big part about this is Slot apparently said, out of his love and respect for Feyenoord, there will be a round of talks, but he is not going to have one of these drawn out things. So if the talks break down, that's it. You got one shot only. Out of love and respect, it's not going to be a drawn out circus like it has been with other managers. So where we are right now with this club is it doesn't matter what we hear, what we say, if they're reliable sources or not. No matter where you hear it, and look, if you go to THFC Newsbeat at 11:13.
Okay.
So So listen, that's what I heard yesterday. Everything, whether it's the media, whether it's people that are just saying things, it's right, because no matter what way we look at, everything goes wrong.
Yeah.
I could say today we're hiring the Jolly Green Giant to be the next manager. There's probably an element of truth in it because we're running out of humans.
No, the Jolly Green Giant wants assurances that he gets plenty of sweet corn.
Probably, and but this is where we're going as a football club. Now, it doesn't matter who you are, how you support this club, whether you're a season ticket holder or you live abroad. It doesn't matter where you are or what you think. This club, like I said, it's broken, and you look at it. You have to remember Daniel Levy when he responded to the trust this season, and I said it when we did our video. The very first question was, where is what is the short-term and long-term strategy for this football club? And the first thing he said was, in the previous 16, 17 years, Tottenham have qualified for Europe. And I'm like, well, I didn't ask you about the past. You were asked about the present and the future. And it's funny he says that because this is a year where we could not have European football. We've gone from 4th to what could be 8th or 9th. 3 managers, a director of football gone, and now we're at day 60 of a day and 72. And people say to people like me, why do you always find the negative? Find the positives.
There is more positivity in an electron atom than there is in
there is no. People will come at us. People will go at us and go, why you always say negative? Talk about the positive. Whoop, whoop, we're nearly bottom of the top half of the league. Whoop, whoop, it's our worst defensive record in Premier League history. Whoop whoop! It's our worst away season, away form season since they took over. Whoop whoop! It's another year without trophies.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Can I get a whoop whoop? Can I get a whoop whoop? Mate, listen,
Yeah.
I need to go.
Do you know, Brian? Do you know what's more
Danny,
funny is
quickly.
it's like I was saying, right? It's like we're now from the managers that we were linked with from the beginning, right? So we first looked with De Zerbi and Arne Slot and a couple of other company, and now everything. It's literally a reminiscence of the Nuno saga, right? It's like we've got a list of managers. We went Conte, check. Ten Hag, check. It's the same thing again. It's just, and for me, what the biggest worry is, it's not about us actually getting a manager. It's the fact that we're now going so far down the list of candidates that we actually wanted, right? That the club are not going to fully trust that person because they weren't the person they wanted in the first place, or they weren't the second person they wanted, or they weren't the third person or the fourth person. And now it's the fifth person. So they're going to be like, okay, well, do you know what? This person, Arne Slot, we weren't going to give him everything he wanted. So if we're going to get a manager in, then we're going to have to hold back a little because we don't really know how he's going to do. We don't really, and that already is set up for failure. It's already because what it does is it basically.
Go. Sorry, Danny, I'm just going to go right now.
That's gone.
All
later,
I will
Brian.
say is we're going live at 7 p.m. I am going to go fucking mental. And as always, Levy out.
See you, Brian. Take
See you,
care,
Brian.
mate.
See you guys. Love you.
Take care, Brian.
What's
Brian.
really funny to me though, Danny, is the last couple of days the club has been saying we're going for a data run method. We're going to do everything by statistics and data. So what we do is we offer the job to the worst possible manager, fucking possible, who's just got relegated. That is Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. Data. 100% chance of getting relegated. Brendan Rodgers, a guy like Andrew.
Do you know what the thing is? The thing is about Rodgers,
not this guy, not a Nagelsmann. The only one who's been relegated in the last year.
Data-driven football.
Yeah.
Data-driven football scares the shit out of me, and if it's Levy, he's probably going to nick your Sega Saturn, Sean. That'll.
Do you know what, guys? I just find it funny because you just mentioned that Brendan Rodgers basically got Leicester relegated. I mean, obviously we know that there was another manager in place, but he's been underperforming since that FA Cup win, and obviously we know the club's been in a little bit of turmoil, right, in terms of the money that they've had to invest in the squad, and they went the summer without signing anyone. But if you actually look at his actual performances over the last 3 years, it's got progressively worse. Like it's just gone down, down, down. And if Tottenham are thinking of hiring someone like that just because 7 years, 8 years ago, or 10 years ago, he played for Liverpool and had a decent season, right? Because people in the club who are, let's be honest, are not footballing people, right? Yeah. They just like him. This is set up for failure, and I guarantee you.
The problem is, though, right? I think that unless you are someone who is like in the very, very rare breed of manager, like Arsene Wenger, Klopp, Guardiola, or Alex Ferguson, like the average tenure of a manager is 18 months because of the fact that football is changing so fast, because of the natural demands of fans these days is like, I want success, I want it now, and I want it repeated for most people, for most clubs. And the consequences of failure in terms of financial revenue streams are so dire, so severe that it's very difficult to see. I'm not going to say average managers, but unless you are the very best who can get through that period of where your ideas go stale, and then you can recalibrate and regather that momentum in your team. There's very few managers that can do it, and I think that Brendan Rodgers. I don't want Brendan Rodgers at all. I'm just going to put this out there that he's been at Leicester a long time, and I feel like after a while, just like with Pochettino at Tottenham, after a while the ideas get a little bit repetitive and a little bit stale, and I think that players probably get bored and want something new to get their teeth stuck into. And I just feel like I don't necessarily think that Brendan Rodgers is a bad manager. I think that his ideas probably just got a little bit boring, got a little bit repetitive, and didn't have the stones or the creativity, the innovation mindset to be able to pivot and recalibrate and go again. And I think that's the same for 90% of managers. in my mind.
There is, but if you look at the two most successful English clubs, right, like in the last sort of 7 years, it's Liverpool and Man City, right, and they've had their managers for a long time. And if you look at Klopp, for example, this season he started so badly, and his team is like he's changed the way he's played a bit, right, and he's had a resurgence, and now they look like they're going to go and push on. And they're going to obviously go and buy a couple of good players in the summer. They're already pretty much done a deal for McAllister. He's a great player. So when you see them buying like players like that, they're going to push on again. And it's like when you've got like very good managers like them, like Klopp and Pep, right? I think you can have a sustained period at a club because you reinvent yourself a lot, and you reinvest with the right players, right? And they've got a model that works. Obviously, Liverpool have been through a transition period of the last year and a half, let's just say, right? Year, I would say. If you look at Chelsea are going through a massive transition period because they've just had a new owner. They've had a manager. Now they're going to get it looks like they're going to get Poch. And if they do, I think he might do a decent job there, better than what the last two managers have done. Whether or not he'll win a trophy or not is a different story. But the thing is these clubs are now...
manager.
Yeah, but what it seems is that these clubs are now setting out themselves with a plan, and that's the key, and that's the thing we just don't have. And I just feel someone like Rodgers, I just feel that he's going to be gone in a year's time because
he's not strong enough. The clubs you mentioned here, Danny, I reckon the directors of football are doing fuck all at those clubs. The manager's the governor. So I don't think Rodgers is that guy to do that role.
No, I don't think
so. Well, speaking of Rodgers, I'm
going
to bring up an article that Barry's just shared and let Barry go through it. But before I do, Tim Falco with a super chat. Big up, Tim. Love your name, by the way. Nice to see you do a live show. Appreciate that. In these times, it's when you cheer each other up. 100%, mate. Like the stream guys, and support Red Napper for the win. Listen, I like what Sava said. Like, we should have brought him in as like a kind of a point of stability back in March when Conte went. I don't know if he's the guy for the job now. Really appreciate the super chat, guys. We've got over 500 people in the house, 510 people. What's the like count? We're at 250. I can say 150 away, and you will hear the words you've never heard out of my mouth before.
Come on, guys.
You've heard me say it, but maybe just...
Sorry, John, I'm just going to go and set up 150 accounts. I'm just going to go and set up 150 accounts. Yeah.
I come on here just to speak with Danny Kiriaki because I call him and I call him and I call him and he never answers his phone.
He never
answers.
He's not the only one, Ben. Don't make out like you're special, mate. Don't make out like
you're not special, mate.
With Danny.
Yeah, 100%. Let me share this screen. Nick, I want to bring you back in. I haven't heard a lot from you on the stream, really, mate, in the last hour. So please chime in more. But this is what you've sent us over. This is from... Get rid of that. What we got here from the football transfers,
tier 3005 or something. So basically, it just says that Brendan Rodgers has been formally offered the opportunity to become the next Tottenham manager. However, Spurs are keeping their options open in case the former Liverpool boss knocks them back.
Imagine they're rejected by Brendan Rodgers. I'll laugh so hard.
Graham Potter and Luis Enrique are also on their shortlist, although Luis Enrique is apparently been is the favourite for the Napoli job. So he's not to be. Yeah, it says the one person that he is favourite of. It says there he's not favourite of Chairman Daniel Levy, but the board are otherwise all for the 50-year-old.
This is Donna Maria Cullen again.
Yes, again.
This woman has got far too much influence. Like, I don't. It's nothing to do with, like, as Alex Box Office had to say on We Are Tottenham TV. It's not because she's a woman. Not because she's a woman. It's because she. He got ahead of any. He got ahead. He got well ahead of any potential jibes about misogyny. But who is she? She's a PR woman, and she's a consultant in the architecture of the stadium rebuild, and yet she has. I reckon she's got some dick pics of Daniel Levy or something. She's got something going on that is Something's going on. Sorry,
You had to
Mia.
go there, honestly. You probably wouldn't even be able to see him without a bloody microscope, man. I reckon that's what it's like. Do you know what I'm
I
saying?
agree.
Got the microscope here.
Breaking news on Spurs Talk Show. Donna Maria Cullen has got dick pics, and Mia thinks that you need a microscope to see him. So.
Oh, it's the hope that kills
absolutely awful. So yeah, look, I mean, I don't know that.
Yeah, the
Sorry,
insects that we're called. Yeah, Donna Maria Cullen, the
You have to
insect.
call this insects.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say though, does Daniel Levy not have the final say if the board? What happens with the votes of the board? If the board are in favour of Brendan Rodgers, does he not get
The board
to
shouldn't
have?
have a say at all.
Mia, all that happens is if it's a tie, all that happens, he looks around the table, and Donna goes.
Gives him the eyebrows, isn't it? Just like the raised eyebrows, man.
Yeah. You really want that to come out, bro? You really want that to come out? I got the pics.
I just get the feeling. I get the feeling, and I've had this feeling since '83 when Scholar took over Spurs, that if Spurs, Sugar, or Levy could just get rid of this annoying football side of the business, they'd be a lot happier. That's how low I think they regard the football club side of it. They just want a normal, nice business, but football don't work like that, and that's what they just don't understand. Never will.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I mean, I don't even know where to go. Like, let's talk about the managers that are like. Obviously, we know Enrique's out of a job, right? If Ancelotti is staying at Real Madrid and Nagelsmann, let's play sort of the speculation game here. Do you think that Nagelsmann, obviously, if it's true that they're not going to hire any DOF, then it's likely not that will be a deal breaker for Nagelsmann, right? But if Nagelsmann doesn't have Real Madrid to go to, the only other really impressive jobs that are available right now in the club game, obviously, you've got Napoli, the Napoli manager. He's out, isn't he? Spalletti, is he going?
Yeah, it might be. He might be. Yeah.
I don't know why.
I love his football. His football's fucking amazing.
Yeah,
Spalletti's reuniting with Tongi and Ndombele at Tottenham with Galini. Galini, run it back, bring him back, the rapper.
I just think that I don't know if he's the type of manager that can build kind of on youngsters and stuff like that. Because if you look at the team he had at Napoli before, he had some absolutely top players. They brought in a couple of really good players like Kim Min-jae and Kvaratskhelia and basically took them to the next level. Kind of like when Liverpool bought Alisson and Van Dijk, it kind of elevated them to that next level to go and win the trophy. And I think Kvaratskhelia and Kim Min-jae is what basically did that for them as well.
Yeah.
So you need that type of. I don't think if Spalletti comes here, as much as I'd love to see his type of football here, I just don't think he would work. We do need like a manager who is going to build from the ground up, spend little money, try and get to maximize out of what we've got once we've got rid of the deadwood, bring in some youngsters. So I don't know. Like, I wanted to ask Paul why he actually really likes Postecoglou, because I don't really know too much about him. But
yeah, well, it's like so. Obviously, I live in Australia, and I really sort of started hearing Postecoglou when he was Australian youth manager, and then he managed a couple of teams. But it was really when he managed the Australian national side, which at that stage was on the ebb. We'd kind of passed our golden generation, and he really got a huge tune out of the players. And he won us the Asian Cup, which is like ridiculous for Australia. Yeah. And he's gone to Japan, and
the Asian Cup.
Oh, Japan, South Korea.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So no, they're not mug. It's not European standard, but they're not mug teams either. England didn't beat Iran, so it's the look. But more than all that, right? It's the way he talks. He's got a thorough understanding of what football means to him, and that's through his own upbringing as a migrant from Greece. Spent a lot of time going to football with his dad. When he was a player, he was trained by Ferenc Puskás. He's just football, man. He really is. And I saw the same thing when he joined Celtic, that all the Celtic fans on all the channels were just going bonkers, like, who the fucking hell, what we do? Because they were all trying to get Eddie Howe. So what you're saying there, Danny, about, second or third choice, maybe the club doesn't trust them. Well, he wasn't Celtic's first choice, and he's won them over, and they're just all singing to his tune now. The fans love him up there. It's the way that he gets everyone pushing in one direction. He always plays attacking football. There's YouTube clips of him when when there's back passes going on. He'll say, "Kick the fucking ball up the other end." He's not none of this crappy horseshoe stuff. I just think he's the kind of manager. If you have him in, then the director of football doesn't become as important. When you got someone like a Pochettino who's more of a coach, then I do think you need someone doing a bit on the recruitment side. But I think Ange is a really good one-stop shop, and he's very aware of markets like Asian players. He's had great success bringing over Japanese players now. Whether they're at the level for the Premier League, I don't know. But at every opportunity he's had, he's succeeded, and he's succeeded keeping everyone happy and with a smile on their face. And I don't think age is a problem. He's 57. No. There's been plenty of managers older than that.
Yeah, exactly.
I think he's got
That's
great.
What we need now. We don't need it. We need
wealth of experience, man.
In a way.
Do you think he can grab the? Do you think he'd be a big enough draw to keep Harry Kane? Do you think he'd be a big enough draw to get maybe some decent names interested in coming over here in the summer?
I don't know about Harry Kane. I mean, he's going to do what he wants to do, but he's only been at Celtic for this is his second full season, and the squad is pretty much a complete turnaround from the one he inherited. So what he did was he got them playing above their skins. They had probably about 2 or 3 months of dodgy results, but already the fans could see what he was trying to do. And then first transfer window, he brought some players in, and then they just took off. And then over the summer, and they're like Celtic. When I was watching them in the Champions League, they on paper their results were not great against the likes of Real Madrid, but they weren't far short, man. They really weren't far short. They had lots of chances. They took it to them. They were much more entertaining to watch in the Champions League than Spurs were. And I think at the moment, if Spurs played Celtic, Celtic would kill Spurs. They've just got so much more oomph about them than we have. And I also think that Ange he's got such a strong personality that if Levy isn't going or isn't going to do anything, then you need someone with some balls in there that can even get someone like Levy to toe the line. And if Ange can't do it, I don't really see many other managers that can do that. That's where people have fallen over at the club. Conte didn't get what he wanted. Mourinho didn't get what he wanted. I'm hopeful that Ange might be able to do that, but Levy.
Do you think then, Paul, maybe it might work better because he's not a type of manager like a Conte and Mourinho that would demand the very best of the best type of players, like £6 million players. He'll go for the more unknown quantity kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he is so aware of world football. Every result, every match, every player, he just knows everything. So he's not going to be a guy that comes in and says, "Oh, I need Bastoni and Gvardiol." He'll pick players that fit his system.
Yeah.
I want to bring up a comment from Next Level English saying, "How can anyone prefer Postecoglou to Rodgers, who's done it in the Prem? He's just been relegated. Relegated. That's not doing it in the Prem. That is going to the Championship. He's a shite manager. He's failed at
unless they're officially down now, are they?
They're going to go down. Look at them. They're awful.
Well, Leeds will stay up because they're playing us.
Yeah. 100%.
He had 100%. A beyond world-class Luis Suarez at Liverpool, and they bottled it. That's the type of manager. He's a bottler. He is rubbish. Getting someone with Postecoglou, at least he's won something. Yeah, Rodgers won the FA Cup years ago with Leicester, but he's been relegated closer than they're going down. They've got Dean Smith as the manager.
Not just that.
Relegated.
Rodgers has just looked bloody knackered for the last couple of years. Like what you're saying, Dan, he's just gone off the boil. And I mean, maybe there is a chance that a different environment might spark him up again. But I mean, let's face it. All this is just All this is just speculation. It's going to be bloody Ryan Mason, and we know it.
Well, there's a lot more
If
searches
Rodgers is
going
made
on
the Tottenham
Twitter.
manager, I want every single person outside that club shop. This is an unacceptable appointment. This is a terrible football manager for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club.
But I mean, even though I want even though I've always wanted Ange, there's no denying that Tottenham don't look good at the moment. They've tried Nagelsmann, they've tried Slot, and they've just completely ballsed it all up. So it's a joke of a club at the moment.
Scott and Postecoglou could work really well because both have come from the Australian market. He'll understand Postecoglou, being he's a former youth coach of Australia. They might work together. They understand the Asian market, which Postecoglou understands. That is actually, it seems, a fit of working. Scott Mann and
Miguel Delaney, chief football writer at The Independent, has just said that Tottenham are now strongly considering Ange Postecoglou, who is now seen as the top candidate. And at the same time, is going mad on Twitter saying that to that point that football transfers made. Last word on Spurs is also Rob Dorset, from Sky, is saying Spurs bosses feel that Arne Slot used their interest in him to get an improved deal. So we were a honey trap.
Of course they're going to say that. Of course they're going to say that. That's a typical PR bullshit you see. Oh yeah, he was using us to get a better contract. Oh, come off it, man. Come off it. How much more bullshit do you want to see? I don't buy that crap. I mean, look, if they try to go for Ange Postecoglou, I don't know what his release clause is. I don't know what his situation is in terms of his contract side of things. So
he's up at the end of the season. As far as I'm aware, he's been doing 12 months at a time. So after Celtic's Cup final on June the 4th, then
do you think? I mean, it's not just for you, Paul, but for everyone. Do you think that someone like Postecoglou, if we see him in, we want to see a long-term contract for any manager that comes in, really, and not just a year deal or an 18-month deal, because that already sends out the message that they're not planning for the future if they give a manager a short-term contract, right? What do you guys think? Do you think it's
difficult because you know what? Today is the 25th of May. It was the 25th of May 2018 that Pochettino signed a 5-year extension. So today would have been the day that Pochettino's contract would have expired. We've had 3 managers since then. No, 4 managers since then.
Mourinho's and Conte's is expiring at about now as well, isn't it?
About the same time, yeah. This is embarrassing.
So like all this, if Levy didn't want to pay, I don't know, 7 million or something to Feyenoord, I mean, he's already been paying out, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 million in managers he's sacked. So, it's a false economy, isn't it? If he wanted the guy, he should have just got him. That's it.
Is there any I was making this point yesterday, right? Not about managers, but about players. And that Tottenham fans get angry and sometimes turn their noses up to certain players that would improve Tottenham because at some point in the transfer window, we are linked with a higher caliber player. And I gave the example of Bastoni at left-sided centre-back last summer, and then Guardiola as the summer progressed, right? And obviously those two were never going to happen. But because Tottenham fans heard from however loose the rumor was, however bullshit the rumor was, that they were the top candidates, anybody else that we were linked with after that wasn't of the same caliber wasn't good enough for Tottenham fans because we were lured in by the prospect of a carrot that took the shape of those 2 particular players. And I feel like Tottenham fans maybe, and this isn't I get caught up in the same things. I'm not calling people out for it, but once you hear of a certain caliber, then anything below that, whilst better than what we have, is not good enough. And I feel like Tottenham might have the same thing this summer if we get linked with Aymeric Laporte, for example. Yeah. Right, and there's a story that might happen. Anyone else that we're linked with, like Bella Kotchap or Ndicka or anyone else, won't be good enough because Laporte is now the target. It's like that's the benchmark. And I wonder if it's exactly the same thing with the manager search. Like whether or not Nagelsmann was ever a real prospect, whether or not Arne Slot did use us, he was never really interested and leveraged us to get a better. I don't know why I keep doing that, but whether or not he leveraged us to get a better contract, but was never really on the cards. That Tottenham fans are angry with the club because we've heard rumours about a certain calibre of manager when in reality the talks were not progressing. I'm not saying that they weren't, but do you think there's any possibility that actually we're giving Tottenham we're hitting them with a stick, but it's an imaginary stick because the media decided to link us with certain managers that were never actually realistic in the first place?
Yeah. I mean, what we need now is, if I look at the Tottenham squad, we've got players that need partners in their positions. And one, as an example, we've got Christian Romero, who's a very, very, very talented centre-back, but he's a lunatic. What you need is someone that's going to come in and partner him. So a Ben Mee, a Tarkowski, someone with a Lewis Dunk style of player. We need someone that's calm and's got leadership capabilities.
Yeah.
That's one part improved. Then we've got young players like Pedro Porro, who are raw but great attacking but can't defend, which you can learn defending over time with good coaching. So what you need is a defensive midfield destroyer who's going to solidify that back line. We need players that are going to help.
There's a perfect example there, Ben. Ugarte is my guy. The second that I wanted him ever since I saw Tottenham play against him, but then the link started to emerge, and I'm like, he's the guy I want. He's the guy I want, him or Polinia. Not that Tottenham have ever really been linked with Polinia, maybe a little bit here and there. But if my sights are now targeted on, I'm doing it again, put my hand down. My sights are now targeted on Ugarte. And if we go and buy a capable monster number 6, but it's not Ugarte and it's a £20 million player, then I'll be disappointed because Ugarte is the link and he's the guy that I wanted. So I feel like maybe we're guilty of just setting our sights and setting our expectations based around bullshit links.
The prices we pay, Shawnee, we should be really expecting quality. I mean, I don't know how much your boys' season tickets are or anyone. It's £2,500 a year. I expect quality players playing for Tottenham, not Eric Dyer.
You don't even get Champions League for that, do you? You've got to pay for that separate.
Yeah, my first season ticket was £36.
If I pay £3.50 for a cappuccino, I want high grade 89 plus specialty coffee, not Starbucks.
Yeah.
When you pay for when you pay that much, you want quality. You don't go to Gordon Ramsay's, pay £50 for a main course and get rubbish. No, you get quality.
Yeah. And you get shouted at the same time.
And you also don't get a very lot of food. You've still got to be hungry after as well.
Kick your back on the way home.
I don't even have a club left to see. That's how expensive the tickets are at Tottenham. And we have to watch Eric Dyer and Japhet Tanganga. As much as I feel sorry for the boy, he's not good enough. And Ben Davies is. We pay the top dollar and we get rubbish. That's why we set our stall out high, because we pay over the odds for rubbish. That's possibly why we expect.
I just want to real quickly pivot and take a second to say thank you to this man, Rotter Apple. He's a Feyenoord fan, and he came in. I spoke about him on yesterday's video, but in the day before video, he came in and offered some insight, and I pinned it to the comment. And I actually reached out. He reached out to me on Twitter. I was going to have him on the channel to interview him to find out what sort of guy we were getting. Mate, Mitch, I think your name is. Appreciate you stopping by again. He's saying Spurs wanted to pay 7, Feyenoord wanted 20. Do you know what? Like, I'm really surprised that Tottenham wouldn't go that extra mile. Like, 20 million quid to get the manager that you want, if that's true, right? If the other story is true that he never really wanted to come, then so be it. But either way, Mitch, looks like our opportunity to meet each other is no longer necessary. But obviously, still hang around the channel, buddy. Wish you well. Wish Feyenoord very well with your man. And it's a real shame, mate. I was looking forward to chatting with you and to finding out whether or not we were going to have a superstar in our midst. But
can I ask a question of you guys? Do you think that 20 million was unreasonable of them to ask? Just curious.
If that's the guy you want.
I think it's a lot of money. I think 15 is reasonable. 12 to 15 is reasonable. But I thought 20 is a bit, I think personally, I'm not trying to defend the club at all, but I do think that's a lot of money.
But if that's the guy you need, you pay the money.
That's it.
But still,
to be honest, Mia, they have look at what they did with Jose and Conte. They paid astounding amounts of wages to get him in. and compensation to get them out the club as well. So if they can afford that to get them out and get them in, then they can afford it if they wanted to. The fact of the matter is that they didn't want to. That's the difference. And well, look, we don't know what the. All I know is that next summer, from what I've seen from reports and Ali Gold and other people, that next summer was when his contract would be activated, as for the release clause in his contract would be activated for £6 million, right? Or 6 million, £6 million, whatever it is.
Is that Arne Slot?
Yeah.
Apparently it was next summer would that contract clause would come into play, where if someone paid the 6 million release clause, it would be you could take him. But I think that because it obviously that's not into play this summer, it's probably why it's more so than not that they wanted a lot more money to get him out this summer, because obviously look at what he's done to them in the last 2 years, and now they're in the Champions League next summer. So yeah, it's a lot of money, but look, they can afford it if they wanted to, and I just don't think they want to pull out that much money, because look, they've made so many mistakes of spending money unnecessarily with managers and all this kind of stuff. I think they're looking at it from what I'm seeing, like I'm playing devil advocate here, but they're probably looking at it and thinking it's a lot of money to spend on another manager if it doesn't work out, and then if we have to sack him, it's going to cost even more money to get him out. So it's a lot of money, but look, the club can afford it. It's just I see where they're coming from. It's just that for me, I just think again it's a decision probably more based on the numbers rather than is he actually the right man for the job. Because if every single one of those people in that boardroom honestly believed that he was the right man, I'm sure that they would get it done.
20 million quid. It obviously is. It's a lot of money, because I think someone was saying it would be a record for a managerial compensation.
It probably would be.
If it's the
I think Nagelsmann was more. Nagelsmann was more, Sean. I think he was more when they took him from Leipzig to Bayern Munich.
Really?
I think he was the record.
Okay, but either way, right? Like 20 million quid doesn't get you. I don't know, Eric Dyer, Harry, like 20 million quid doesn't get you a good quality player, right? And the manager is the cornerstone of a successful team. Like you don't have success. A good team does not work without a great manager. So to me, I don't see the problem in paying up for a guy, especially if you're going to have him for 5 years. Like you paid, because that works out at 4 million quid a year, right? Like it's not that. I don't think that should have been a problem. If that's the stumbling block, then that's a shit show again. And I'm surprised, because Daniel Levy doesn't normally scrimp on managers. He'll happily pay the money up for managers, but doesn't want to pay it for the right players.
But do you not think that he's paying for the name, because he's done that for Conte and Jose, where this is a lot of money for a risk manager? It is more of a risk to do that, Sean, than, do you know what I mean, paying for a Jose or a Conte. Does that make sense? That's sort of how I view it.
I get it, but like this amortization thing, right? Like I say, if you're signing someone on a 5-year, which is what you'd hope that would be a proper project, and you've decided that this is the guy we want, he's the guy we want to build the entire system around, let's go for it, then it's 4 million quid a year. Like, I don't think he would be wanting the 15 million pound a year that Conte was getting as a salary. He'd probably be able to come in and do it for 5-6 million quid a year. So you actually net, you're only paying 10 million pound a year, which is 33% less than what you were paying Conte on an 18-month contract. Like, I don't know. To me, it's if that's the reason, I think it's a shit reason to miss out on him.
And also, like, say if he came to Tottenham and had a blinder and then was poached by another club, we'd get some compensation back. So it's not money completely pissed down the toilet in all circumstances. There is a chance you get something back. And I don't know. I agree, Sean. I think 20 million in the scheme of things, if that's the guy that's going to take the club forward, it's nothing. Cheap.
Yeah.
Because then, so where do we go from here then?
If you look at it from on a slot, if you look at like what he could like reinvent at Spurs or innovate at Spurs, it probably costs a lot less money, because you're not going to have to go and spend ridiculous transfer fees on getting better players, because I'm sure they could probably get more unknown type of players and based on, I don't know, just let's say for argument's sake, based on data that's going to actually fit the system that he wants to play and fit the way he wants to play. So I'm sure that in the long scheme of things, it would have been a cheaper alternative. But if you go and get, say, a Rodgers or a Postecoglou, and maybe the club don't trust them as much as they would have trusted someone like Slot, then you're going to end up spending more money on a manager and players that it may be in 18 months' time we're going to be going through this same thing again.
What about your man Gallardo?
I was going to ask you about that. I don't understand why no one, there's been no kind of contact with him, or why no one else has gone for him. I don't understand it, because I would still love to see him.
Is he still at River Plate, or is he left now?
He's not. He doesn't have a job at the moment. He's not managing.
No.
So that's what I don't understand. Why has no one gone for him? Is it because it was someone like River Plate, and maybe I don't know. But for me, I still think he should be an option, but I just don't see why he's not. I don't know.
Let's have a look at the latest manager odds. I'll tell you what, the bookies have made an absolute fortune. Anyone that's pumping money onto the favourites, latest Tottenham manager odds.
I mean, what do you think, Sean? What do you have any thoughts on why you think maybe they haven't gone for Gallardo and no one's gone for him yet? Or it's a hard question to answer.
Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe just
it's too unknown. Maybe it's too unknown. But
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'll take Barney the Dinosaur as the manager at the moment, just so we get someone in.
I mean,
A lot of people are saying why. Again, are we not going for a director of football? Because in any sort of business, you don't get a manager in and then immediately promote someone above them. That's immediately undermines someone. You get the boss first, then you get the person below him, then you get the person below him in any business. I've never worked at any business as a barista and immediately someone's promoted over me. That's not how it works.
The only one that happened to at Spurs was when we got Paul Mitchell, because Poch wanted Paul Mitchell.
Yeah, exactly. Is that there was already a relationship there, so it's like they knew each other.
Yeah.
What are we doing? We constantly say, why do we? It's the scattergun approach again.
Yeah.
We've gone from no director of football to only having directors of football. Now suddenly we don't want a director of football.
Can someone tell me? I know Brian said he heard it from a source, and someone else, Tottenham Newsbeat, said that they heard the same thing. I've not heard anything. I can't see anything. I've looked online. I can't see anything around that. Like, it would be bonkers. Like, what's his name? I personally believe that the fella Scott Munn, Dave Harris, the Irish Hotspur, shout out to him. He first put, like, I can't believe the idea didn't dawn on me, but the multi-club ownership model that Manchester City have done so very well with, the 777 partners are very much involved in, with lots of teams around in secondary tiers in Europe. I'm doing a video on it, right? I'm doing a video analysing multi-club ownership. It's a really fascinating topic, and Newcastle are probably going to start doing it. It's a way, because of the new FFP rules, it's that limit the amount of money that new owners can come in and inject into a football club. I think it's £100 million a year after the first initial investment, and then obviously after that you have to then work within your means. And so teams that are owned by sovereign wealth funds that want and could or should be able to just dump as much money into the club as they want, they can't really do that anymore. And so one of the ways that they can still find the efficiencies of wealth and get it into the club is by buying up, second teams, third teams, fourth teams, and then using the economies of scale, the synergies that you can learn from shared training and feeder club exercises, loaning players back and forth, all of that stuff. Newcastle are about to start doing it. And I wonder whether or not Tottenham under Scott Munn might be looking to do the same thing in the future, in 2-3 years' time, once they hopefully fix the mess. Probably won't, but ideally fix the mess at Tottenham. ENIC used to be a multi-club owner. They used to own Slavia Prague. They used to own Rangers. They used to own AEK Athens and Tottenham, and I think Basel as well.
Failed all those clubs as well.
Well, no, they got, it was after two of the clubs qualified for Europe in the same season. The UEFA then brought down a rule saying that they couldn't play against each other because there was a conflict of interest, and so they were forced to sell all of their stakes apart from Tottenham. The rule has subsequently changed, that UEFA has now got this, we don't want two teams playing, but as long as there's no direct overlap of influence. So the reason why
you can own, I think it's up to 30% or 29% of another club in the same competition.
So
you can have minority ownership, but you can also...
Yes, the minority share, yes.
I'm not convinced about Scott Munn really. I mean, the only impression I've got of him is like Australian sports administrators are generally terrible, and I'd imagine that he probably got his job. He probably went to a private school. His dad is either a politician or a senior police officer. That's how you get jobs in Australian sport in management. So I don't really know if he's any good or not. So, I can't say that he is. So I'm not saying I want Postecoglou just because he's Australian, because I want Tottenham to win. But the Scott Mann, I mean, how many layers of shit do you need? To me, it's just. I just want to watch football.
That's why I wonder. That's why I wonder whether or not I don't think he has the necessary stones. Like his success with Melbourne City, is in no small part because of the success of the City Football Group. Like when I first researched him, like the guy used to be a part of the Australian Olympic Committee in 2004.
That says it all, man. That was jobs for the boys. That was dodgy as all hell. So fuck him.
Well, so he got in there. He had relative success. Then he went and had success running rugby league clubs in Australia. Then transferred into football at Melbourne. And like I say, like the benefits from all the research I'm doing, the benefits of the multi-club ownership model, there's lots of pros and there's loads of cons, loads of failures and very few success stories. But one of the major success stories is obviously City Football Group. But that's because of the immense amount of wealth that the Saudi Arabian, Abu Dhabi group have got. And they can put into place all these different things, get round the various financial fair play rules in those individual countries, allow the kind of growth to happen. So I don't know whether or not Scott Munn was instrumental in creating the success or whether he was a byproduct of the success because of all of the other things that were happening. He then gets promoted out of Melbourne after Melbourne go from like relative obscurity in the Australian A-League to then winning the league, doing the repeat and are about to do it for the third time. But before that, he got moved into the head of City Football Group's Asian operation, done very well again. Now he's come over to Tottenham. But for me, I don't know whether he has any. But I don't know whether or not his skill set is in like managing large operations rather than actually the intricacies of a football club. And so that's why, like, if we're not going to hire a director of football because Scott Munn's going to do it, I'm not sure his skill set is in football itself rather than being able to organise the operation of a system.
The only thing I really remember about Melbourne City was because he was one of the guys that changed their name from Melbourne Heart to Melbourne City, and obviously the fans weren't happy about that. So that just says to me he's a branding business guy. He's not a football guy.
Well, wasn't he head of football? Head of Asia football for the Man City group, wasn't? And then he kind of helped.
Chief operating officer of City Football Group Asia. So
he tried to transition
into the City group.
Yeah, and he helped transition that marketing in towards that market, right? That's what he did for the City group.
Yeah, but like I said, it's not marketing, right? So like the City Football Group, all of the clubs that they bought have gone under the City branding banner. So that wasn't him. That was like a higher level where they bought a club in Singapore. They bought a club in, like, I think there's New York or New York City or one of the clubs in America that they bought as well that they've got become City. So it's just a fait accompli that when the City group buy a football club, they change their name to the local town and then City.
It's just bloody franchises. It's McDonald's football. It's horrible.
Yeah.
Speaking of
got a couple of super chats.
If you wish to know anything about how you can get life hacks at McDonald's, talk to the man above me. He will save you lots of money on your chicken selects.
We'll hear all about that in just a minute. Adrian Chia saying pay the 20 million quid and could get to keep Kane and the fans happy. 100%, mate. Like, that's what, for me, like 20 million quid, it falls out of the back pockets of some of these owners on the way to the pub, and like it's not a big deal in the grand scheme of things because it's such an instrumental factor, and the fans would have got behind this. I think the fans would have been really genuinely happy. I think today every fan is rightly angry because of the turmoil. Thank you for the super chat.
What
We also got one
would-
from Nick. Sorry, mate.
what would you prefer? Three Arne slots or one Richarlison?
Yeah. Exactly, mate. 100%. Fucking hell, Charlison, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Nick Walker's saying, thanks, Nick, saying, I had a terrible dream that we stick with Mason, Kane goes to United, and we get Maguire in return. Think I may go to support Wrexham. They have more ambition.
Did Tottenham recently, this morning, after the news came out, put out something on their Twitter about a Monster Energy experience at Tottenham?
Yeah.
Have you guys seen that?
No.
This morning, apparently they put out. There's a picture of Kulusevski holding the Monster Energy drink in a car, just coming out of a car with a Monster Energy car with the logo on it, and it says Monster Experience. It says Monster Energy Experience at Hotspur away. Apparently, it's posted this morning. I don't know if you can see it, Sean, but
yeah, I'm gonna get it up now. Hang on.
Imagine our back two is going to be Dyer and Maguire. That is full.
it's going to be a person with a Monster Energy suit on.
If they did publish it, they'd delete it.
The owners and everything, the way they present themselves, it's so out of touch. Like before the last game, I was doing a build-up on the Irish Hotspur, and we were talking about, when the players were going to do their lap of honour at the end and the awards, would the fans boo or cheer? And we were humming and hawing. We were all wrong. We didn't realise. No, the fans just pissed off home. I mean, what a statement that was.
And how bad for the female team? The female team had to rock
terrible.
out, expecting there to be at least like 20,000 there to support them. There was about 20 people.
Yeah,
terrible. Absolutely
that's what
terrible.
the club's done to people. So I get it. I guess there's a perception that a lot of the fans are apathetic when it comes to protesting or whatever, but there's also that side where they're apathetic. They just won't go to bloody games anymore. I mean, why would you?
Jory coming in with another one. Thank you, Jory. Really appreciate your support today, man. And always, 7 minus 20 is a 13 million difference. 13 million to miss out on the man you want to rebuild and revolutionise Spurs.
Absolutely.
We are embarrassing for any ambitious manager by now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like I say, if it's true, right, there's obviously the other story which is being pumped out is that he never really wanted to be here and he was just using us to get himself a bumper pay deal at Feyenoord. So don't know which one of the is the, maybe there's a bit in between.
Well, I saw him do a press conference a few days ago, and someone kept on asking him, "Are you staying at Feyenoord?" Da 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 da. And you'd think if he was going to really just stay at Feyenoord, he would just say, "I'm staying," but he didn't. He was cagey. He dealt with it very well. I thought it was quite impressive the way he handled it. Actually,
I think there wasn't. I think from what I know, I think there was an element that he was interested in the job.
Kiriakou.
No, just from what I've heard over here, people talking over here, and
we know you, Danny. Your plan has got a bloody area in it.
Honestly,
into your head.
It's a little bit reminiscent of when he left AZ Alkmaar to come to Feyenoord, right? In the way that it happened, because he left there because he got the opportunity, and it was kind of a bit bad the way he left AZ. But if you look at how he, like you said, Paul, how he was a bit cagey in that interview, he didn't come out and say, "No, I'm staying, that's it." I think there was definitely some kind of talks there. And
looked like it, didn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And it kind of, it just looked like that, obviously, maybe the club did want way too much money, and it was never going to happen. But look, it is what it is, right? It's another manager off the list, so...
Yeah. Do you know what I didn't appreciate, Danny, is the fact he sort of backtracked and said, no, there weren't no talks and blah, blah. It was almost like he did kind of backtrack. He could have just said, yes, there was talks, but I didn't want to go. He could have said that, but he kind of tried to cover his own back, man. And I thought, yeah, you're a bit of a sly one on that, I reckon. Like, that's a bit of a sly thing.
I think, I think it's also me. I think it's also to try and save face with the final fans.
Of
because
course.
He's just won the league title, their second league title in this century, right? So it's a big thing what they've done this season in the Eredivisie. It's a massive thing. I think Ajax was always expected to have a downfall because they've lost so many players over the last few years, and they've had manager shit shows this season. And I think, if you're at a club where you've just won the league and you've been talking to a Premier League team, which he obviously wants to come to the Premier League at some point in his career, and then whatever happens, the clubs can't agree a compensation package. He's got to try and save face because he's got to make it look like that. Actually, no, he did want to stay. It's just, but if it came out and they had agreed a fee, he would have gone. I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
I'm sure of it. But yeah, I understand his point of view. I mean, he's even come out with the quotes this morning, right, to say that he's staying and all this and that. And I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get it.
I know that Ben, you've got to jump, and so have you, Mia, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
otherwise
I've got
I'm hungry. I need to eat because I've been to the gym and I come straight on. So I'm gonna keep.
I'm not angry.
obviously-
I'm angry.
Yeah. I might have to jump to Sean, and I've got to prepare a little bit before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to go as well, Sean.
Yeah, well, I think we're going to
Yeah,
wrap up
we'll
anyway, to be
jump
honest.
in. Sorry, Shawnee.
All
Sean's
well,
gonna have
we might as well-
abandonment
might as well-
issues.
Oh, before okay, well, I'll let you guys plug your channels, and then we can round it off. Start with you, Mia. Oh, actually,
Oh,
sorry,
well, I
Mia,
can
sorry.
stay, but fuck you, Sean. All right, I'll go as well.
Before we get into that, I've got to say big up to the disabled team who's become a new YouTube member. Big up, my man or my lady. I don't know who you
It's a man.
The man. Thank you so much, my man. Really
Top
appreciate
guy,
your support.
top guy.
And love to get you on at some point when we get back to doing proper streaming and have member phone-in shows and all that stuff. Really appreciate the support. Mia, what's going on with the channel?
As per usual, I've got lots of content on there, all different kinds of stuff going on. Like I've done a bit of like tactic talks, and obviously I do updates on what's going on with Tottenham, which is never really great to have come on and be depressing about Tottenham. But yeah, match review when it happens, match previews when they happen, and all that jazz. Shorts as well. So go over, watch all of it, spend like a whole day watching all my content, please, and like it all.
Super.
And obviously subscribe if you haven't already.
All right, thank you so much, Mia. Really appreciate you coming on. Ben, what's happening with Tottenham on tour?
And the coffee company as well. 2 channels.
Oh,
mate.
sorry.
2
Sorry, of course, and the coffee.
So,
Sorry,
yes,
and of course, the coffee.
Daniel will
company,
fill you in more on the Tottenham on tour side of
No,
things.
you
Yes,
can, Ben. You can.
We are very
You know.
close to 300 subscribers at the coffee company. It'd be a really nice thing if you could go over there. It's just my little stream every single day where we have a bit of a therapy. We talk about how we can be nice to each other and we talk about loads of things. And then all my mates on a Wednesday come over and ruin my show. We've got a brand new coffee at the moment, which is called Strawberry Princess, which you're all going to like to drink. And Danny, you should have drunk it whilst you were here, except I only got it yesterday. But head over to the coffee company. And of course, Tottenham on tour with myself, Danny Kiriakou, Brian Daigle, Brian Ireland, Ryan Isaacs, and Amir. And we like to shout about how much we don't like Daniel Levy. So if you like to do that, head over to Tottenham on tour, and it's a great place to be. So thank you to everyone for being great in the chat. And yeah, big up to everyone.
Cheers, Benny boy. Appreciate you coming on, my man. Nick, what's crack-a-lacking over at Shelfside?
Well, we're on tonight, 7:30. Talking nonsense. We're not going to be talking about football. So, yeah, for those people that want to have some fun and get away from this horrendous news, then come over and have some fun tonight. Well, I don't know what we're going to be talking about. There may be maybe some big breaking news, but that all depends.
There'll definitely be something out between now and then. Something will come out.
Yeah.
So
breaking news. That's Tottenham or something else. Who knows? I'll keep you guessing. And if you don't know,
coming out very soon.
If you don't know,
you'll get
soon. You will get to know.
Absolutely, yeah. You're going to get. No, we are. There's something. Something's coming out. Thanks so much, Nick. Appreciate you, Danny. Tottenham on tour, mate. I think Ben's already done that, isn't it? Anything else you want to say?
I think he actually forgot to mention that there's. I don't know, Ben. Did you say Brian was saying there's a show tonight, right? At 7.
There is a show tonight at 7 o'clock. Apparently,
8:30. It's been pushed back because I said, "Hang on a minute."
Damn right. Only Shelfside stream on a Thursday night at 7:30.
Yeah, exactly. Fucking Brian, what are you doing, mate?
Yeah, Brian.
But yeah, no, there's a show tonight. Me personally, I hopefully will start seeing me a little bit more on streams again in the next week or two. The apartment's nearly ready, so that's pretty good. That's a good thing. But over the weekend, I'm going to be busy. We've got a lot of stuff going on. But yeah, it's nice to see everyone. It's and if you haven't subscribed to all these people who are on here, please, everyone, do. It doesn't cost you anything. And these people give you great content. I mean, I've enjoyed listening to everyone when I've been doing work and stuff like that. So it's been good. So yeah, it's nice to see everyone. And don't let Spurs get you down. It's another day in paradise at Spurs.
Best of luck with your interviews, mate. I know you've got some work, some stuff going on, haven't you, in a couple of days? Congrats in advance. I'm sure you're going to smash it. And Paul, my man, thank you so much for coming on from the other side, from about 7,000 miles that way, allegedly, unless you're a flat earther. I know that there's one or two people in the community that are. Paul, mate, where can we find you? It's usually on the Irish Hotspur, isn't it?
Yeah, Irish Hotspur usually doing the build-up, so I don't have my own channel. I'm just going to go and spend some of my bonus from the Wollongong Wombats, so that's my night sorted.
Do you actually work for a local football club?
No. I mean, yes. Sorry, I spoiled the illusion there, didn't I?
Oh, hang about. We've got someone who's coming back in. He wants to come back in. We're just about to finish off.
Okay, well, I came in just to see, during this stream, have we turned anyone else down yet? Or have we been turned down by anyone else yet? It's been a whole hour I've been away. That's enough for at least 3 managers.
What do you think, Brian? Did you want to explain a little bit more about the new experience Tottenham have got?
Yeah, it's going to be me offering a very, very good experience. But no, I did hear what Nick was saying about the Brendan Rodgers thing. What I will say, I did come back in and I heard from when Mia was talking about the 20 million fee for Slot. And for me, that's an interesting discussion, because if you look at it, forget whoever the manager is, whether it be Slot, Nagelsmann, blah blah. If it comes down to, we call these guys and we try and impress, and we make our way to look at, these are our number one picks. We've done our due diligence. Would you rather pay that money to get that man in and show to the fans, this is our man, this is what we're going to do, we have faith in him, bang? Or do we wait around and pick up a freebie like Nuno, who was released from his job and not the number one preferred pick?
Brian, if you want to stay and continue, Paul, you want to stay and continue? I know the other four want to jump.
I'm actually getting a bit tired, so I'm going to shoot off as well, man. But I'll continue watching.
All right, well, Brian, I'll stay if you want to get the point off, because I know that now 5 people want to jump off, so I'll stay with you, Brian, for another 5 minutes. Let you get your points
fine,
out.
Mate.
Everybody else, if you guys all want to jump off, love you guys. See you all soon.
Speak to you
Thanks
soon.
for coming on.
See you, folks. Thanks for having me on, Sean. See ya.
Bang. See you, Paul. Love you, mate. Take care.
Oh, mate, mate. How quaint is this? How quaint is this? It's you. Do you know what, mate? It's really it's funny that we've come this way, because I remember being your very, very first live guest.
You were
when obviously you and I were poles and poles apart on this discussion.
Yeah.
And look at it. Look,
closer than ever.
Oh, mate, it's like touching distance. I literally can see you, and you can literally see me. We're so close to each other at the moment with it.
Well, yeah, like I say, the past, the present, and the future are 3 different timelines.
Yeah.
And
no, you're right.
The present is absolutely shambolic. The future looks incredibly bleak. And I think that Daniel Levy, it doesn't really matter to me whether or not he eventually gets a manager in. At this stage, the frequency of his screw ups is of such a high level that I think he's taken us as far as he can. What I would say, mate, is that, look, I don't particularly want the Ineos group. I don't want Jim Ratcliffe to take over, because I think he's dodgy as they come, and I don't think he's done very good with Nice. But the Qataris, if they don't get hold of Manchester United, which looks like they won't, with all the shit that's going on at Tottenham, with Daniel Levy's wife giving him a little squeeze on the thigh, saying,
that's the best performance,
don't worry.
Performance I saw all season at the Lane.
That
was the great.
But maybe she's doing that. Maybe there's a little sign there that that he is feeling the pressure and doesn't like all this stuff. Maybe out of adversity comes opportunity. Maybe they might end up saying, actually, you know what? Fuck this. Like it's too much of a hard, but put it in the too hard basket. And if the Qataris come in and pay 6 billion or whatever they were willing to pay for Manchester United, if they can see the value in Tottenham, they can come in. You never know, right? I doubt it, but stranger things have happened, right? Someone was saying in the comments earlier that West Ham might be the target now for the Qataris. I'm sure they'd rather have Tottenham than the West Ham. But
you know where it comes from. Where I am with this right now, and I'm open to anyone taking the club. You're a little bit more refined, like you said. You're looking at the business side and what it could be and what it may be and what they can bring, and is their intentions pure or I just don't care who it is. I'm going to be upfront and honest. But the thing that I think new owners come and do, and what does ring true is new owners come. Let's just say new owners don't come in this season. We don't know who the manager is. Let's say there is a manager there. Don't know the play, but it's just like, okay, here we go. It's going to be another. Let's hope for top four. Won't take the cup seriously, and this could be another. Yeah, and then when we go out the cups. But the one thing I will say that new owners will bring in, for me personally, and I would feel many others, is that optimism, that hope, that desire. That you know what, those 22 years of having to. Or the last, let's say 5-10 years for some people of how we've been run, that belief that we might have an owner that wants to challenge for domestic cups, where we started back at our roots with the FA Cup, even the Carabao Cup. Jose Mourinho always said when he came to clubs, winning that Carabao Cup was so important to him because it gave him that winning belief. It was that first bit of silverware in the cupboard or in the trophy room to say, right, okay, now we can build. Yes, we have that belief. I honestly think if a new owner comes in, for me, it gives me that belief, that optimism, that hope that maybe, just maybe, we could be going for things again, as opposed to just like,
Yeah. I mean, look, the margins for error now are so small. The difficulty is to compete for trophies is so. I mean, it's never been harder to win a trophy, is it? Like I was on a stream last night with Henry and Sava, and Sava, we were speaking about whether or not Tottenham want to qualify for the Conference League, right? And I was like, I don't really care if we do, if we don't. If we do, I want us to take it seriously. If we don't, I can see the benefits in not, to give us a season away. You can thin the squad down. You can focus, one game a week. We've got so much turmoil at the club. Too many distractions are never easy. Sava made the same point. He actually started the point by saying, that there's far more benefits to being out of it. But I guess the biggest point for being in it is that it's one trophy that you can win if you took it seriously that doesn't have Manchester City fighting for it. And that to me is the problem, right? Is that Manchester City are so far ahead of everybody else. Tottenham are so far behind the pack at the moment, but Manchester City are so far ahead. And if you qualify for the Champions League, then you're in 4 competitions every year that you have to overcome Manchester City or a team that has overcome them, which is rare, in order to lift the trophy. And so I understand that the biggest reason why you guys are so anti Daniel Levy is because of the trophy drought, right? Like you haven't won a trophy since 2008. We used to win 2 a decade. Now we win 1 every 15 years, whatever. It's going in the wrong direction. Do you acknowledge though that it's never been harder to win a trophy and that the expectations around winning a trophy right now should be maybe readjusted a little bit, just given where Tottenham are, but also the situation with City being what it is?
Okay, so let's. I'm going to try and I might not answer those in sequence, but I will answer them because I've forgotten the order.
Go on a rant. Yeah.
So the first one with what we stand for and what because it's on the pitch. It's not just. Don't get me wrong. We all want the successful Tottenham on the pitch. That's the number one thing everyone at this football club wants, no matter who you are or how long you supported or whatever it is. Everyone that supports Tottenham wants to see success on the football pitch. A lot of us are really pissed off because of the way fans are treated, fans are charged, there's many other factors, but it always comes back to most successful on the pitch. So we've got that. Now, I completely agree with you where you say it's harder to win trophies now. There is absolutely no disputing that. But I know it's harder, but we're also in a space where we can compete. All right, we can't compete with the Man City money, the Newcastle, whatever. But during our time and try or whatever hasn't happened, there shouldn't be the gulf. There may be the gulf in financial backing. There shouldn't be the gulf in talent. The amount that we've slip through our fingers or don't resell because they haven't worked out and keep offering contracts. So on that, but I do agree, it is a billion times harder to win a trophy now than it was in the 90s or whatever it may be. The Conference League now. There's two ways to look at taking this cup serious. If we were in it, do we field a strong team to try and get as far as we can to win it, or is taking it serious, saying using this properly as a people to blood people like Alfie Devine, like Dane Scarlett, like all these youngsters coming through and say, right, this is your time to gain the experience, so our players, the first team, can relax and rest to achieve what we're trying to do domestically in the cups or trying to get back into that top four. Because right now, talking about, like we were a few years ago, about challenging for leagues or challenging for third, those days are over for a few years, which we have to accept. Challenging for fourth is even a couple of years away. But that's what we've got to look at. It depends what you call taking the Europa Conference League seriously. For me, even though I want trophies, you know, Sean, better than anyone, my love for Alfie Devine and what I think the talent we have here. For me, I would rather use that Conference League, if we're in it, to bleed as many youth products as possible that have come through. We've seen with other teams this season as well. If you're young enough, you're good enough, they're all getting their chances. Whether I'm not saying that the Spurs players are at the level that some of these are.
Yeah, are they? Do you think they are? Do you think that? I see. I know you wax lyrical about Alfie Devine, and whenever I've seen him for the under-21s or the under-23s, whatever it is, I've always thought he's been impressed. But I do think that it's difficult to gauge because when you watch the under-23s, the quality of the game is just is so poor generally, right? Like everyone is on a lower standard. I watched the was it the under-18 final when we won it? The guy Dorrington, the centre back, what he did for that second goal or the third goal. No, when we were 1-1 and we went on to take the lead 2-1 in the final against Villa. He broke out of the defence, did a classy 1-2, and then just drove forward with the ball. And I was like, wow, this guy is a marauding centre back. He's tall, he's strong, he's fast, he's got good footwork. Let's see what he can do. And Dave Irish Hotspur, you know, I always listen to Dave's opinions. I think he's always very well, he's very passionate, but he's also very well thought out. And he was saying, he watches a lot of the under-18 stuff and the under-21s. He's a big believer in this Dorrington guy. Do you share that belief? And the same with Alfie Devine, that if you were to drop them into the first team, that they'd handle it? Or do you think that we just don't know because we haven't seen them play against high enough level opposition at that stage to really get a gauge if they're there yet?
So what I will say with Alfie is every single level he has played in, he's excelled in. So there's a path showing that he can adjust. I mean, Alistair Gold even said last season he's outgrown the under-23s. He's just too good. He's just too good. And this is the thing. We could be losing Mundell, who is a serious talent once again.
He's gone, isn't he? He said he's going.
Yeah, pretty much. He's going because this has happened again. So whilst this is going on, we're not getting to see these players. So you've got the Europa Conference League, if we're in it, to say, right, guys, you know what? You may be complaining about not getting first team experience and there's no pathway. Well, here is your pathway. This is going to be used solely. Yes, you might have 2 or 3 senior players with you, but this is predominantly about giving you minutes, time to see what you can do. I think at the moment, you look at, let's say, for instance, Ollie Skipp. I think Ollie Skipp's been overplayed once again this season. You had Sarr, who has done very well when he played against Milan.
That's a weird one, wasn't it? Sarr never. He should have got more minutes than he got. Shouldn't he?
He should have. You got Sarr. You've got Ollie Skipp. Don't get me wrong. In certain games, he's been outstanding. In other games, he hasn't. There was talk about putting him onto the leadership team. He's 22 years old and have 4 managers. Let this guy develop by quality for him to learn from. So when he gets to 25, 26, he's right up there in that talk for leadership. So again, when it comes to that Europa League,
Do you loan him back out though? Do you loan him back out in the summer?
You know what? I had this discussion with people. I can't remember what show I was on, Sean. I was Savers, and we're going like buy, keep, sell, loan kind of thing. And I do think there's a player in Ollie Skip. A lot of people don't. A lot of people think a lot higher of him than me. But we know what he did at Norwich. And you know what? Paul's just mentioned another one. Mikey Moore is one of the most exciting prospects I've seen developed from us. And he's a very young kid. This guy has got it. But yeah, for me, I think Skip could do with another loan, but this time to a Premier League team. No, you're going back down to the Championship, play in a Premier League team. But we have to see. I mean, well, sure. Where do you stand if we're in the Conference League? What do you call really competing for it? Do you go for the play the full team, try and get a trophy to get back into Europa, or do you say going for it is giving the youth team minutes to show what they can do to hopefully impact the first team, and then the first team could impact on domestic cups and whatever in the league?
No, I don't think you give it to the entire youth team. For me personally, if you, like the worst thing for me, the worst case scenario would be if West Ham win it and qualify for the Europa League, and then we qualify for it and get knocked out. It would be the most embarrassing thing like ever for West Ham to win the trophy and then Tottenham to get knocked out in the 2 times that we've been invited into it. Obviously, one of them was under because of COVID rules, but whatever. What I would do is, I think you take it
another way. Just quickly, sorry, I'll just very quick. You look at it another way. If West Ham win it and we don't even qualify for it this season, that's even more. So it's you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. But I'll let you speak, buddy. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut in.
Yeah, that's all right, mate. Yeah, welcome back, Paul.
You reeled me back in because you're talking about football. It was interesting. So yeah.
I think if you do qualify for it, I think you go like the 80-20 rule. I kind of feel like you put like 80% of your of a strong enough team in it. Like if I'm in it, I want to win it, right? I don't want to sit there and fuck around with it and play players like the way we treated it last time. I thought was the worst way to handle it, where you left the first team at home and you took the second team, which essentially told the players, "You're not in my plans. You are sacrificial lambs for a tournament that no one gives a fuck about." And I think that it was disrespectful to the tournament. It was disrespectful to the fans, and I think the players should have taken it as a sign of saying, "I'm going to dominate this. I'm going to smash this game, and then I'm going to earn my way back into the team." But instead, they looked at it as with the little, impetuous. No worries, mate. The impetuous little shits, petulant little shits that they are, and went, "Well, no, like if you don't want me for the first team, then I'll give a fuck," kind of thing. And I think that was it was just a stupid way to approach it. What I would do is play 80%, 70, 80%, whatever of the first team, but then you incorporate 2 players from the youth. You incorporate Alfie Devine, whoever the people that are chomping at the bit to get in, you give them experience with first teamers. Maybe so 7 players that are young, 7 players that are established, or 8 players that are established, 3 players that are the highest caliber of the youth guys, and see if they can handle it there. That's how I would do it. But as I say, I don't really care, Paul, if we're in it or not. If we are in it, though, I do want to win it. I don't want to treat it with disrespect.
No, I agree with you, Sean. I reckon 2 to 3 young players. You've got enough games that you can mix that up a bit and find out a bit more about them. And like when you dump all youngsters in, you're not going to really learn anything about how they could potentially fit into the first 11. So by doing 2 or 3 at a time, you can learn a lot. And you never know. I mean, Dorrington, I watched that as well, and I'm with you and Dave. Dorrington was brilliant. And then in the other final, younger kid, Mikey Moore, he was bloody amazing. So, he's brilliant. He looked like bloody Glenn Hoddle. He was great.
But again, I don't know how. I think Mikey Moore is pretty young, isn't he? Mikey Moore is
16.
Yeah. So obviously he's not ready. He's not ready for first team football
yet. So maybe only give it a year. Only give it a year. 17-year-olds.
By having access to the Conference League, if you do give to, I don't want to see us put out the under-18s team because I think we'd get beaten. But if you if you do the kind of 80-20 rule that I'm talking about, then at least you demonstrate to the future versions of Mundell, whoever, like the Alfie Devines, the Dorringtons, maybe the Mikey Moore, but maybe not yet, whoever else is chomping at the bit, you offer them a visual path to the first team. Because you look at these other teams, like they don't lose their youth players unless they block their path to the first team. What is the point of being a youth player at a club if you never get a chance to make it through to the first team? Liverpool have the perfect blend of bringing in for 10 minutes a youngster when they're comfortable in games, when they're 2-0 up or 3-0 up at home to Southampton. They'll bring on one of the youngsters. Like Villa do it very well. Wolves even do it occasionally. Like there's like teams that are of our level or worse still find room to give their youngsters a crack when the opportunity exists. Tottenham do not do it. And the Conference League could be a way to do it, to prevent future situations where you lose players like Mundell.
It's a good tough experience for them as well. You know, it's not all plush. They're off to bloody Knobsblad, where their team's going to leave shit in the visitors' toilets and all that sort of stuff. You know, there's going to be a lot of dark arts, and it's a test of character. And if kids come through that, then they're going to be great.
It's just to add on to that, Paul. I'll answer it. Like people will know, when I came back from Toronto in November, the first thing I did was go up to the Nottingham Forest Carabao Cup defeat from the moment I landed. And the thing is,
embarrassing that was.
But what I'm getting at is, if I'd gone up there and we had played, let's say I'm a little bit further down the line than usual. I wouldn't go as 80-20. I'd probably go 70-30, 60-40 in the percentage wise of the. I'm not talking 100% youth and like 2 or 3. I mean in the squad, and then obviously you got the blend. But I would have rather driven all that way to see said people we mentioned, a Mundell, because it's a learning. If they get knocked out, it's that will toughen them up. It's that gives them the experience to drive on. It's that says, right, okay, we've lost. We don't like this feeling. Let's. But with our first team, it's just like, hey, we're have a cup. Hey, well, whatever. So as we go further and further, it's just that place. And you got to look at it right now, not just the players that we have got. And I'm being serious here. If you're a parent and your kid is being watched. You look at the talent we're letting go of, or you look at the fact, not even just letting go of, you see that the pathway is like non-existent. And I do mean non-existent. Are you going to say, yes, go to Tottenham Hotspur, they've got this wonderful facility? I'm a Spurs fan. If my nephews had the chance to go and play for Tottenham, I'd be like, no, you're not. No, you're not. Go get your youth training and your education elsewhere, because it's all well and good being part of the club. The neglect we've shown or the way we've treated youth products in this academy has not been good as well. And I mean ethically and morally as well. So forget the talent that's coming in and we may be losing. Right now, people like Mundell, Markande, who people were, I actually didn't hear enough about him to monitor him as he was growing up. But as he was flourishing, a lot of people were speaking about this guy. A lot of people. Out the door. You look at I can never say the one that Makenda, the one that's gone to Chelsea. What's his name? Thank you. I can never say his bloody name.
It's a tricky one.
Yeah, mate. With me, one syllable is enough for me. You add in different names from different countries. We're in a mess. But yeah, you look at these players that are leaving and doing well and flourishing after developing and finding the right things. It's the youth setup, which is where we need to work on and improve. It's just another aspect of where this club is falling down. It's just another way. It does, Sean. I mean, you look at it, and Paul. Any way you look at it right now, I can't find. Yeah, 24Z is just mentioned as well. Lavernier.
Oh,
Lavernier.
Yeah, he's another one.
He's another one.
Madueke, that's it. Madueke. Sorry, I screwed up as well. Yeah.
So see, it's difficult, Sean. The fact that you did it as well has given people like me hope that one day
the difference is, Brian, mate, is that when you say when you don't know, you admit you don't know. I just fucking rock out the confidence to just make something up and then pretend like it.
Make it till you make it. But yeah, this is where we're coming from, and mate, there's just at the moment there's just not a lot of things to grasp onto. I think the one thing we can all grasp onto as a Tottenham fan is that this season is almost done. That's the one positive right now we can take as Spurs fans, that this season is almost done.
Yeah,
But if we do get into the conference, I want to win it, and I don't think we should be snobs about it's the Mickey Mouse Cup or whatever. That's our level, and really, when you look at our season, we're bloody lucky to even be at that level. We've been so shit this year, so you can't just instantly win the Premier League or Champions League. Let's go for it. I'd love to see us win it if we're in it. Why not?
Yeah, Michael Knight, my mate from my old school days, Everton fan. Big up, Mike. Hope you're okay, mate. You're over in he's over in Rome, and he's I know that I was talking to him about this. I think before he was saying that Roma fans obviously. I think I was talking to you about this, Michael. He was like Roma fans took it seriously. The club took it seriously. They won last year. They get qualification into the Europa League from it. Yep. I'm sure they qualified by right in the league anyway, but then they go on. Now they're in the final of the Europa League. It is a stepping stone. It's a catalyst, and it should be seen as a kind of launching board. I don't think that Tottenham fans that think it's beneath us. I think we need a long, hard look in the mirror at where we really are as a club and how long it's been before we were competitive. It's about our level, and yeah, we could go and win it. And the problem is if you don't win it though. That's what I said. If West Ham win it and we go into it and we don't win it,
well, you've got to be in it and win it. Hey, Michael, I'm really sorry that we're playing Leeds on the weekend and you're going down. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've got to say,
try as we might, we are definitely not beating Leeds.
We would
no way,
mate. As soon as that, and believe me, I don't know if either of you or anyone in the chat has been to Ellen Road. If you wanted to think, please don't be going to a hostile away ground. Please don't be going to a place where they're going to be pumped up. Ellen Road would be at the very bottom of your list of where you'd want to go on the final game. I mean, I do fear for Everton. I'll tell you what, if Everton go down at Everton, Liverpool will be rioting. There will be, oh my God, I don't even want to think about the scenes. I personally don't want Everton to go down. There's an affiliation with Everton. We're both one of those clubs that have never been relegated from the Premier League. Everton are a huge, huge football club, and to see them in this state is horrible. To think that it could be them going down and being replaced by a Coventry or a Luton, who are, let's face it, are people that have been forgotten from this league for a very, very, very long time. But yeah, I mean, I can say
the number of years in the 80s when it was Liverpool, Everton, and Tottenham going challenging, and we always fell way short. But Everton were a monstrous club, Neville Southall and players like that are brilliant.
Yeah, no, I do have to say, and I'll let people know now. Obviously, the main things that have been happening recently have been at Spurs home games for Levy out, the balloons. Obviously, the banners are getting everywhere.
What was the protest like on
Saturday?
Obviously, the Man United game on the Thursday night. I think you guys had the biggest. It was like 200, wasn't it? That was there.
Yeah.
And then the following game. What was the following game?
Crystal Palace.
And it wasn't that big, was it? It kind of it was pretty small again. And then what was the one recently? I wanted to ask you how was Brentford? Was it big against Brentford?
I'll tell you all of it. So basically, I was at the Manchester United one. Obviously, I was standing there from 3:00 in the afternoon, setting everything up. We were very impressed with that one. Listen, we say it was only 200, but we gave it a lot of publicity. I was going mad on YouTube and everything I could. And you got to remember, that was the first time ever we'd done it on a night game because of obviously people finishing work and getting down there and setting up. And that was the first time, Sean, unbelievably. And all the time that we've been doing this, it was the first time it's rained. The first time, I was like, how are you? I was like, how are you doing this? Then there were train problems, but the turnout was good. The turnout was really good for our standards. Obviously, still could have been a lot better. Crystal Palace, it was the only one I've ever missed because I was really not well. So I did not have any energy, so I didn't go. But it was a pathetic turnout. Now, was that it was a bank holiday weekend and people were on holiday? Was it people just didn't want to go? Was it?
Oh, that was the King's coronation? Was the King's coronation?
Exactly,
weekend, wasn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or was it that they thought a draw against Man United was a positive step with Mason, so they wanted to, whatever it was. Saturday obviously was the early kickoff. So we got there extra early to be there for it and make sure that we were there to do it. Again, it took off a little bit slowly. but yeah, the turnout again was good. I'd say we were close to the 200 again. Maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more. But what I will say with this one is, with the Manchester United one, people came, stayed for 20 minutes or however long, and then dispersed because obviously it was a wet day. It was going into the game. You may have wanted to go and have a drink. It was a hard day at work. But what happened on Saturday was a lot of people stayed for the duration. Like when they got there, they stayed. And what you got to remember, Sean, the weather for that one was beautiful. Saturday was beautiful. When you got the weather, it's always going to help people stay out in the sun longer. They need to be bigger. They need to be. The real shame is that we've got this real traction now, and we really have. We've worked damn hard, everyone, to get the traction where we are now, and it's the end of the season. That's the only. If we'd been here, let's say February, who knows where we may have got to. But do you know what? With things like this carrying on like today, it's only going to strengthen it. And just because it's the end of the season, we ain't done protesting yet.
Well, you've got to the stage. You got to the stage where Levy needs a little leg stroke to keep his spirits up. So it's getting in his brain, man. It's getting in there.
Paul, what I will say is, we get
Wasn't
our
that a
banners
magic?
in.
That was a magic moment during that game when they did show
it was
it.
phenomenal. It was phenomenal. The other magical things is obviously the balloons are getting on, and everyone knows what. And there was a lot of them on the pitch on Saturday. But what you've also got is we'll sneak our banners in, or get them in. One of the top boys, who is known for taking banners everywhere, he is now checked when going into away games because the Spurs security have been told, make sure he hasn't got a Levy out banner at away games.
Is that your mate Alex, Isaac?
No, Billy Carnes. Billy Carnes.
Yeah, okay.
So the one that had the Arsenal one that has got over 3 million views on Twitter with the Mikel Arteta one. But home games, we're getting them in. But what I will say is, you saw the one at Manchester United when Sonny scored. You know, the one right at the bottom that they kept looking at, and it was there again on. I've got no idea who those people are. They're not. I haven't seen them at the protest. So that's not one of our banners. The one that you saw on Match Today with the small one, that was one of my friends, Lee Terry, who had that. But what it is, the media are now picking these, the media, the sporting broadcasters that are showing it, the live game, are panning to it. They are panning to it. I mean, so
it's audible, man. You could definitely hear the changing of the guard. On that note, I might have to end the stream because I'm only 19 likes away from 400, and if we get to 400, then I've got to.
Are you going to bottle it, Sean? Are you going to bottle it?
No, I'll stick to it because I am there. Like I say, the only reason I've never said the words is because I always felt like, the people that, like yourself, like there's a general.
I hadn't liked it. Liked. There we go.
There's generally like a level of resentment, I guess, towards the owner that I haven't shared historically. But right now, like, I'm with you lot in all.
Yeah.
I agree. I want the owner out. I want new owners in. I still want to run my finger over the details of who that new manager will be, because I do think there's a better the devil conversation. Like, I think that Todd Boehly, I know that obviously Chelsea fans weren't asking for Abramovich to leave, right? So it's not the same. But like, Todd Boehly is a fucking embarrassment of a chairman. He doesn't have a clue what he's doing. He's absolutely useless. Doesn't have a clue what he's doing. And I genuinely do think that there will be repercussions financially for Chelsea. And there's going to be a massive clear out in the summer. So I don't share that kind of anyone but Levy view that you have, Daniel. Brian. I don't have that.
Oh my God.
I don't share that. Don't share that view. But I do think that there's plenty of people out there that could do a better job. And if the Qataris or if there was the Sultan of Brunei, or there's a couple of other sort of wealth funds out there that might still take an interest, and I'd be up for it. So it doesn't even have to be them, to be honest. It could be anyone.
I'm gonna say something here on your channel, like I've said with, and I've been saying this recently. People need to stop, and this goes on Twitter as well. The abuse of fans, both Levy out and non-Levy out. This needs to stop. I, as people know, never attack people personally, individually, or whatever. I may collectively say fans are not helping the situation, but I'll never go, Sean, you're this, Sean, you're that, or Paul, you're this, Paul, you're that, and insult your. So that needs to stop. But what you also need to do is with channels like yourself and people like yourself, Sean, you understand what I'm saying at the moment, and people like Last Word on Spurs and other channels that are not as vocal or as direct or as volatile as me when speaking Levy out. What you've got to start doing is stop associating channels and saying, oh, they're Levy in channels. Because what you need to start doing right now, and I've done this a lot, is if you treat when you're listening to these YouTube channels or podcasts or whatever it may be, and you do it kind of like the Voice auditions where you disengage from what channel they're on, who is speaking and what channel they represent, and just go, right, I'm just going to listen to what they say. I'm not going to look, I'm going to listen. If you listen to what they are saying, everyone is, or a majority now, is starting to say the very same thing. It's just how passionate or how far or the way you're going about it. I spent the whole day with Crackers on Saturday. I have been speaking with Lee McQueen via direct. They are both very, very, or they have both been saying that it's time for change. They have both been saying enough is enough. They've both been saying the club is being run like a joke. They're all saying it. They're just not saying, leave you out. Listen, I've been doing this for 15 years, like not on YouTube, but I have been saying the same thing. And because of how long I've been doing it and how often I've seen it, I now try to engage with people and talk with people and say it. But this is what you've got to do. I think people need to start doing the Voiced and just listen to what people are saying, because people are saying, like I'm sure I am going to use you as an example on your show. Sean and I have debated many a time over this, starting from the very, very beginning. And sometimes me and him have been shouting and screaming at each other. I almost gave myself a concussion from Sean will remember smashing this headboard against my. Yeah, that's the placemat. It's it may be this very one. It may not be. I mean, we have a set of them. It may not be the exact one, but it is the exact. I almost gave myself a concussion from knocking myself out and hitting my head so hard with it, because we have been so far apart. People got to remember as well, Sean and I get on like a house of fire away from when we're debating Levy out. Sean is a very, very dear friend. I've got a lot of time for Sean and vice versa. But Sean right now, and I've been watching Sean, I've been commenting on your videos. When you've been going on your walks, he's saying the things that is showing that he is more, he's not, I don't say opening his eyes to it, but he's getting to that point now where he is speaking a lot more like I do, or about the subjects I do, and that he wants change. He just has a different way of portraying it and a different way of speaking it. So I think what we need to do as a goddamn fan base is listen to what people are saying, and don't just assume because someone has been Levy or not Levy out or whatever. Listen to what they're saying, rather, because when people see Sean Butler, Sean, they'll go, oh, that's Sean's a Levy in. Sean's a Levy in. Sean's this, Sean's that.
I think you know what it is, Brian. I don't think I've got to say it now. Congratulations, you came back into the stream and you've dragged out the show long enough.
I'm done. Good night.
I think people that still think that I'm whatever, I think they generally maybe got wind of my perspective over the last 12 months. Don't listen to my channel, don't watch my channel, and therefore don't really hear my takes, and probably just think that I'm, whatever someone else has told them that I am. But look, as I say, I stand by it. I'll stand by the promise I made, that they're all sitting there saying, forward like Sean, it's time. Look, as I say, I am now Levy out.
God! I need to get one of those T-shirts. I was there the day Sean Butler said, "There you go, get your T-shirts out, people."
I think what some of it is because I watch those other channels as well, and like for a lot of people, being a football fan, following Tottenham, you do it because it makes you happy. It makes you feel good. And so you always want to dream, you always want to have hope. And while there's a little bit there, maybe you can give the benefit of the doubt. Maybe Levy isn't all bad because he's got in Mourinho, he's got in Conte, because you really want the bloody thing to work. But it's just become apparent over the last, period of time that there's just something wrong at Tottenham, and people just aren't happy. And when people aren't happy, that's when they find their tipping point, So I think people should be welcomed and not said, "Oh, you're getting on the bandwagon" and stuff like that. It's like, well, you're here now. That's it. That's all that matters.
No, honestly, I have been.
Because I tell you, nutters out there in internet land, I was scholar out before you were shitting yellow. So you're jumping on my fucking bandwagon.
No, but in all honesty, I have been on the same path for the last. I've said it for the last 12 months on my channel. He's taken us as far as he's gone. The only reason I never brought myself to say those words, Levy out, is because, like I say, I feel like there's most of the people that are on that side, on Brian's side, look at Daniel Levy's tenure with an air of resentment, and they think they say that you put him in certain buckets, and I don't share the historical reflection. I think that generally, until 2018, 2019, I think that Daniel Levy did a very good job taking us from where we were to where we were previously to where we were in 2019. And I think that the Premier League table is the best optics into where you are as a club, because you can't get lucky on your cup draws or any of that stuff. So I believe all that. And then when things started to go pear-shaped, I have an air of like, all right, well, he's not perfect, but there's other things, there's other variables that people don't like. You look insular at Tottenham and you're not factoring in maybe what's happening at other clubs, the money that's coming into football, and that we're still competitive. But ultimately, in the last 24 months, last 18 months specifically, I think the frequency of the mistakes is outweighing anything else. And it's to a point where, like I say, I think he's taken us far enough. I won't say, like, fuck off, you cancer, or anything like that. I would never say that sort of stuff. But I say, like, enjoy your money. You've earned a lot of fucking money out of Tottenham and Tottenham fans. But you've taken us to a position where we now need to go to the next stage. And that requires someone who has a better appetite for risk, a better decision making, less of an egocentric control mechanism where you have to have the final say on everything when you don't know what you're talking about when it comes to players. And so on that basis, yeah, like I am Levy out, but it's based on the present and the future view rather than the historical one. So
sure. To add to that, like I said, I've said this and you've heard me say it a lot of times. Everyone has that straw that breaks the camel's back moment. As people well know, mine is Martin Yol, so I've had to deal with what I've seen, and it's just put petrol on the fire. You, as you said, 2018 onwards, and this has been your straw that broke the camel's back moment. I am so far down that line. Yeah, I've obviously been a lot more.
You've been a cripple for a while.
Yeah, exactly. I've been like that, yeah. But this is the thing. There is a lot of people now that listen. Whilst he owns Tottenham Hotspur, he is public enemy number one for me. He is everything that I despise about Tottenham Hotspur right now, and it's a shame to say that, and maybe that's the wrong word, but he is the centre of my focus. Not the football club right now. Getting him out. Once he leaves this football club, I wish him, his family, and anything he does overwhelming success. No matter what he does in his life, go on, be successful, make more money, do whatever you got to do, live your best life. Just stay away from N17. That's it for the rest of your time. I wish you nothing but good health and prosperity. But whilst you are public, whilst you are owner of Tottenham, I will do what I do. I will be as vocal as I am, because you're destroying my first love. You're we all know that Tottenham Hotspur, I mean, obviously you love your parents and blah, blah, blah. But the very first thing that you fall in love with properly is your football club, and they are there till the day you die. Well, at the moment, my football club is dying. Our football club, sorry, but this is my view. It is dying. It's like like I said before, it's like it's flatlining, and we're going clear, and we got the defibrillators out, and we need to do something as a fan base to resuscitate this football club. And it's us and only us that can bring it back, because no one. This is going to continue.
See, I remember. I remember when we were a great football club, and we used to win shit, and we used to beat big teams, and we used to dazzle. It was just so. It was the dog's bollocks going to see Spurs play, and that to me, I think, is our natural state as a football club. And we've had owner after successive owner that has put less emphasis on the football side of things. So that's where we are today. That's what happens. But I think when you get that right, we'll return back to what we were. There's no reason why we shouldn't. We were like that for, 30, 40 years. This should be just a blip we can look back on. And, and I really, even though I look back on some of the players I saw with great fondness, like Hoddle and Ardiles and Perryman and players like that, I get fucked off with just going on about it all the time. I'd like new people to excite me here and today, and see kids get excited by Tottenham. I don't want to have to keep fucking going on about Glenn Hoddle.
Do you know what? Like, just before I get into this super chat, it's a shame when I see the younger fan base that are coming up, and the guys that are like, the best example is probably the really intelligent guy from America, Little Dan THFC. Like, I think he's 14. Yeah. Super intelligent kid. Like, speaks with more. Yeah. Yeah, but he's 14 and he's never seen Tottenham win a trophy, and in his lifetime, and yet he spends all his time talking about Daniel Levy. And at 14 years old, you shouldn't be consumed with ownership. I'm not saying that as a criticism of him. I'm saying it's a sad indictment.
Isn't that amazing how shit we are? We've still, there's still enough Tottenham in there to grab a kid like that, which is still pretty cool. So there's still fucking something there.
No, exactly. I'd hate to be 12. Sorry, I'd hate to be 12, 13, 15, 16, whatever, coming up and then not being able to enjoy Tottenham, not being able to enjoy football, and your attention being placed on the mistakes of an owner. The owner should be almost like a silent observer. They should be doing things in the background, but they shouldn't be the forefront of people's attention. And yet Daniel Levy seems to be always in the kind of zeitgeist of what's going on, and it shouldn't be that way. Just quickly, Brian, before I let you come back in, mate, just going to get to a couple of super chats I want to get to. Nate D, big up, my man. Thank you so much for the generous donation. Did you guys see the AC Milan Ultras giving their players a piece of their mind after the Champions League loss? I don't know what happened there. I think I've lost you for a second.
No, we're here.
Are with you still? Yeah, my internet's just gone. Those players have accountability. Spurs players just don't have that at the moment. We need passion. Yeah, look, I think the Spurs players have too much player power, if I'm honest. Like, whenever things start to get horrible for them, they throw their toys out the pram and they get their say. Yeah.
What's this players committee about?
Oh,
Steve Perryman did a podcast and he was bang on. He I forgot what I was going to say. Sorry, I had a joint when I was off, but so my memory's not what it was. It'll come back to me, but maybe it won't. Carry on. Over to you, Sean.
I just wanted to say, because I've seen this guy's comment has come up a bit. Robert Davies, you're talking about Ledley King has come out and spoken about how well Levy is doing. So you look at this and people, and now you're saying he is a Tottenham boy. He's also a Tottenham boy that is on the payroll. So he's not going to come out and say something. Jamie O'Hara is a Tottenham boy. He's had quite a bit to talk about, hasn't he? He's not on the payroll. Ramon Vega, who I am in talks with and will be appearing on Tottenham on tour over the summer. He has been running his mouth. He was a Tottenham boy. May not have been supported like Jamie O'Hara or Ledley King, but also with Ramon Vega, he's won a trophy. Something that we're alluding to do. Steve Perryman has come out. He's a Tottenham boy. And also said, do you know what? When it came to the manager, he said, all these players, when we went back in the day, when it came back to this, he goes, if you have an argument with Bill Nicholson or disagree with Bill Nicholson, guess who wins? One winner. Bill Nicholson.
Yeah.
That's That's Stevie Perryman, a Tottenham icon, a Tottenham legend, Tottenham's record all-time appearance maker. There are players that are talking about this that aren't on the payroll, and they are all saying the same thing. You chose Ledley King because he's the captain and or he's a legend and he's on the payroll. What do you think he's going to say? Yeah, I think the person that pays my bills and the person that gives me a salary is doing an absolutely appalling job. I think there should be change. They're not going to say that.
Steve Perryman, about the player power, he said, like, if Mike England went to the chairman and asked for a contract, he'd say, go and see Bill. So what the hell are these players being all pally with Levy? That just completely undermines the manager. It should never, ever happen. Like Arsene Wenger, Arsene Wenger said he had in his contract that the chairman couldn't go into the dressing room after Bowley did his thing. You know, there's got to be a separation there. Like
100%.
Before Scholar, when it was like the Richardson and Wales, no one knew who the fuck they were. I wouldn't recognise them if I bumped into them in the street. So why Levy has to be so prominent and put his nose in and you know, organise contracts and, you know, we're being linked with this player and that player. Well, we ain't got a fucking manager. Stop doing it.
Yep.
Big up, Nate. Thank you so much for the super chat, my man. AC Milan Ultras. Yeah, look, I don't know if obviously around Europe, part of the video I'm going to do around multi-club ownership. One of the parts of it looks at this French club. That's a second division club that when they were asked to be a part of this new ownership thing, and they would have to rebrand their football club, the ultras rioted and, you know, brought the whole entire movement down. So it's a fascinating story. I'll make sure I include it in the video.
Wow.
Thank you so much for the super chat, my man. Mia, big up to you as well. Thanks for coming on, girl. We all love the club. Our club, no fan is above another, and making it that way doesn't get the message across. Also, it's true, people don't listen. Yeah, 100%, Mia. As I say, to each their own. Everyone's opinion is valid. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. No one should be chastised for feeling different ways. We all want what's best for the club. We all love the club. That should be the forefront of what people take away from listening to others. Everyone just has a different viewpoint on what the best path looks like. Guys, unless there's anything else you want to talk about, I'm busting to get out of do something.
But, no, you should end that sentence, because that could be a plethora of things. End that sentence before you get clipped to ship.
I need to go to the bathroom.
There you go.
Listen, there's 360 of us. Thanks everyone for hanging around for so long. The amount of references to toilets in today's episode is insane. 360 of you have hung around. We thought we were going to end it. We went for another hour. Big up to everyone that has been a part of it. Big up for Brian for coming back. Big up for Paul for disappearing and coming back. I want to say a huge thank you to everyone that put in the super chats. We got Moondog, Jory, Jozza again, Jason Green, Moondog again, Wolvesy, Adrian, Jozza one more time, Tim Falco, Adrian again, Nick Walker, Jory for the 5th time, I think that is, or the 4th, Nate, Mia once again, and then also to the new member, the disabled team. It's been a wonderful morning streaming with you all, and sorry about the news. Hopefully we'll have something more interesting to talk about that's positive on the next one, but knowing it's going to be, Brian's gone. It's going to be a fascinating rest of the month, and then we'll go into the season ends on Saturday. Paul, any last words, mate?
No, man. Thanks for having me on. That was a lot of fun. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. He's back. He wants to say goodbye. This is the third time you're doing this to me, Brian.
No, I know. I didn't. I went to click onto YouTube on another window, and I just put YouTube on R1. If you think I'm not leaving this show with you know what, and as always, Levy out.
There you go. Take care, guys. I will see you again soon. Thanks everyone for stopping by. Hit the like on the way out if you haven't already. Take care. Cheers. Bye bye.
See you, Brian.
You're right, boys.
Nice chatting with you. See you, Brian.
And you, as always. I'm now going on We Are Tottenham TV and going to do my absolute bollocks.
Oh, right. Okay. Are they streaming now, are they?
Yep, right now.
Oh, all right. I'll see it. Well, I'll watch it. See you, Brian.
See you soon, buddy.
Got to hit the end button, didn't I? See you later, guys.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.